Chuck Schumer has called on people to forcefully rise up against Donald Trump over the indictment of Letitia James. Well, I think they already got the memo because they have been. In Chicago, allegedly illegal immigrants, a vehicle rammed a DHS vehicle. They pursued, pulled a pit maneuver, leading to this big crash where what appears to be dozens of locals get out and begin attacking the DHS officers who then deploy tear gas. Now, the crazy thing is, recently a judge ruled that DHS cannot use tear gas against people without a warning. And ABC7 Chicago is arguing that they are in violation of a court order by using riot control munitions. Oh, boy. What do you call it when a sitting senator calls on Americans to use force against the federal government and their law enforcement apparatus? You tell me. We're going to talk about that. Plus, we got a bunch more crazy stuff going on. Some leaked messages, apparently from some young Republicans, where they used naughty words, has liberals up in arms and conservatives pretending to care. J.D. Vance came out and he was like, I don't care. This AG in Virginia, this guy running for AG, wanted his opponent's children to be murdered. It's like, I don't care about offensive comments and words. So we'll talk about that and more. Before we get started, my friends, I got a great sponsor for you. It is Beam Dream. Oh, boy. Go to shopbeam.com/TimPool and pick up your Beam Dream. It is delicious hot cocoa mix you drink right before bed. I drink it every night before going to bed, and I sleep beautifully. I'm not even kidding. My sleep score last night, 95. Not a joke. It's been wonderful. It's got L-theanine. It's got magnesium, melatonin. You mix this warm cup of cocoa. You drink it before bed. You will sleep better. It's got no added sugar, only 15 calories, and it is delicious. Cinnamon cocoa is my favorite, but I've been drinking the brownie batter one as of late. I actually just ordered the sea salt caramel. I'm very excited for it. So again, go to shopbeam.com/TimPool. Pick it up now. Beam, I'm a huge fan. Really do appreciate you guys sponsoring the show. And shout out to James O'Keefe, who on this show abruptly interrupted the ad read and said, I have this stuff. It helps me sleep. And I was like, well, there you go. An endorsement from James himself.
He's the man.
He's great. We got another great sponsor for you, my friends. It is Kickoff. Check out KIKOFF.com. You get an 80% off promo for Timcast IRL listeners. Credit can feel impossible to fix. Many can't qualify for a basic card, and everything can feel stacked against you. Now there's Kickoff. Signing up takes just minutes. No credit check, no hidden fees. Start building credit immediately, and within months, see real progress. Plans start at just $5 a month, and with on-time payments, your score can keep rising. It's simple, affordable, and it works. Kickoff reports your payments to major credit card bureaus, helping you build credit fast. Over 1 million people are using Kickoff to take control of their credit. You can too. Start building credit with Kickoff today and get your first month for as little as $1. It's 80% off the normal price when you go to getkickoff.com/Timcast. That's KIKOFF without the C. Getkickoff.com/Timcast. You must sign up via getkickoff.com/Timcast to activate the offer. Offer applies to new Kickoff customers first month only. Subject to approval. Offer subject to change. Average first-year credit score impact of plus 84 points. Wow, that's amazing. Between January 23 and January 24 for Kickoff credit account users who started with a score below 600, who paid on time, and who had no delinquencies or collections added to their credit profile during this period. Late payments may negatively impact your credit score. Individual results may vary. Check it out. Guys, thanks for sponsoring the show. Everyone else, don't forget to smash that like button. Share the show right now on every single platform. Share it with everyone you know. Joining us tonight to talk about this and everything else is Tyler Fisher.
Hi, Tim. I was just finishing wrapping up my Kickoff app here and just took a hit of Beam Dream, so I might be a little sleepy tonight, but
well, it won't
everyone
be delivered
uses
in
all
an
the
hour
products.
Or so. It's true. Who are you? What do you do?
My name's Tyler Fisher. I'm a comedian and an actor and filmmaker.
All right, on. Thanks for hanging out. It's going to be fun. We've got this guy.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Elaad, White House correspondent here at Timcast. What's up, Seamus?
I am happy that you're here. Happy to have everyone here, have this conversation. And my name's Seamus Coughlin. I'm a cartoonist and comedy writer. I have a YouTube channel called Freedom Tunes. We've been creating little animated shorts for 11 years now. And what I'm working on right now is creating an animated show. It's full length. We already have the pilot done. We can't fight the culture war if we're not making culture. So if you guys want to help us do this, the left is making a lot of content right now. The right needs to start making more entertaining stuff. So please please go over to twistedplots.com. Any amount you can give helps us. Please help us get to our goal so we can make this show. Thank you so much.
I told Seamus that he needed to watch Captain America to understand how to do this better, and he didn't do it. And so I said, what you need to say is, everyone out there, listen. We need to win the culture war, and that means we have to produce culture. Seamus Coughlin has been working at this for years and has proven his success with over 1 million subscribers, and you've all seen his videos. You know he can do it. I know he can do it, and you need to go to twistedplots.com right now and give what you can. If we want to beat them at their own game, we have to produce fun, funny content, and there's no one who can do it better than Seamus. He's got to get this goal, because every day he misses the mark, it gets worse. You can stand up right now and help make a difference. Put $20 towards this program, and Seamus may be the man who actually wins this for us with great comedy at Freedom Tunes.
Thank you, brother.
I wasn't going to do this, Tim, but I'm making a damn movie, a real movie. And so after you watch his, if you have any money left over, I'm making a comedy film, Give, Send, Go / Tyler Fisher. I'm doing a comedy film. We got to make cartoons and comedy funny again.
I told Seamus to then say, so if you see as I see, and you would seek as I seek, then I ask you to go to twistedplots.com, contribute, and we shall give them a comedy show that shall never be forgot.
But
anyway,
genuinely, what we're making is going to be undeniable. People are going to be able to laugh at it and love it regardless of their affiliation. It's going to be awesome. Please help us.
And do you have a place that you want it to live? Is it going to be just be on your YouTube or
all right,
sell it?
The idea right now is to release it for free online.
Yeah. Would you try pitching it to somewhere like a Netflix, or do you not even want to go there?
If I don't like Netflix. If there was some more conservative organization that wanted to help with season 2 or something, I might consider it. But really, my goal is for this to live out there for free.
You can't just throw a trans surgery in there on one of these little guys.
I don't think so. No.
Look at that giraffe. Looks a little confused.
Well, Tyler, if you want to introduce him to the right person over at Netflix, maybe you can arrange a little meeting. I mean, hey, if you know the right people, Seamus, it's worth a shot.
It's crowdfunded. I want the crowd to be able to see it.
Yeah.
Bill's just sitting here.
He gives you like this great script, and he lets you come and promote your stuff, and you're just like, yeah, you should go and check out my...
I don't think that's how I said it at all.
Like Chuck Schumer over
Compared to Tim, it was. Hello, everybody. My name's Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary. Let's get into it.
Here's the story from the post-millennial. Guys, I got to be honest. When we were doing pre-production for the show, I was like, did you hear what happened in Chicago? A vehicle rammed DHS. They pursued them, pulled a pit maneuver, causing a crash. Get out. A bunch of locals start swarming around and throwing rocks. I'm like, this is crazy. This should be the lead story for tonight. And then we go to post-millennial, and Chuck Schumer is like, people need to forcefully rise up against Trump. And I was like, oh my God. Here's the story from the post-millennial. Chuck Schumer calls on Americans to forcefully rise up against Trump over Tish James's indictment. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, liberal, or conservative. Moderate people should be forcefully rising up against this. I'm going to play the clip for you because this is where we are.
Then they find another one. It is just such a hallmark of tyrannical, autocratic dictatorship societies that they use the prosecutorial department as a political weapon. It is a disgrace, and every American, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, moderate, people should be forcefully rising up against this, speaking out against it, and making it clear how inimical this is to what our democracy has been stood for more than two centuries.
I am not playing games with these people. I don't care about how many of you want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to do that. The man literally said, forcefully rise up against this, speak out against it, and that is a 3-part statement. He was saying to forcefully rise up against it. There is only one. He's talking about physical force. I mean, fine, if you want to talk about coercive force, sure. He's literally saying use force against Trump and his law enforcement. We've seen that going on. We know that AOC shares the ideology with Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin. We know that these people have venerated the alleged assassin of Brian Thompson, Luigi Mangione. So I am done playing these games where it's like, maybe Chuck Schumer meant something. Shut up. We know what they mean. And if you sit there and think, no, he certainly must have meant something different, then just sit by as the fire engulfs your home and you'll be left wanting.
He didn't mean anything different. He wants to see people taking action. This is what the left has been begging for as long as Donald Trump has been in in politics, right? Like you heard people start in 2016 when they're saying, "Oh, the right, they're all Nazis, they're all this, and we have to fight fascism, and Donald Trump's a Nazi, and it's okay to punch Nazis, and blah blah blah." They've been they've been making this argument for 10 years, and now we're seeing people that have heard this argument for since they were children, literally 16, 15, whatever. They're now in their 20s and they're taking action. This is exactly what Chuck Schumer wants.
Weak Chuck, right? He looks like Joe Biden with glasses, like Joe Biden and Woody Allen. What a creep, what a weirdo.
Unreal.
Right, Letitia Jashi, I call her the poor woman's Oprah, right? The poor woman, right? You get a riot. What a nasty woman.
It's a tick.
That's a good Donald
autism.
Trump. I have no Donald Trump at all. So, but yeah, I mean, look, it's not a surprise.
Seamus looks uncomfortable.
Wait, no, I mean, I don't know. The story is messed up. I know we talked about it the other day. Obviously, she should be imprisoned. I have no idea why she should get kind of Well, what I should say is if she's found guilty by a court of law, there should be legal consequences. But the idea that you can't bring charges against somebody. All right. Well, then I don't know what to say, man.
No. Like, oh, she's found guilty by a court, like Trump was. Like,
yeah,
these people in New York made up fake crimes against Trump.
Yeah. Yep.
Look, listen. Let's just be blunt about everything. If the DOJ brings charges in a liberal jurisdiction, she's free to go. If they bring charges in a conservative jurisdiction, she's getting the book thrown at her. We are so far past this argument about if she gets convicted by, a jury of her peers. That didn't happen with Trump or Trump's lawyers. It didn't happen with the J6ers. So I don't understand why we're still in this position where conservatives, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, Seamus, but conservatives keep saying, let's keep playing by the rules Democrats aren't playing by.
Yeah, I mean, you threw the mic to me when I didn't have anything to say, so I just pointed out what my thoughts were on it. I mean, I think if she's guilty, she should go to jail.
I don't think it's about convictions.
You could have pitched your cartoon, man. Any silence.
TwistedPlots.com, everybody. Twisted Plots.
I don't think, again, it's about the conviction. Again, as Tim said, the J6ers weren't convicted. It was about the process that they were forced to go through. You still have to hire lawyers and put your family through this years of uncertainty of whether or not you're going to be arrested. They put the president through the same thing. And I mean, I do think these charges will likely be dropped. But again, it's the process that people have to go through. And I think this is what retribution from the president looks like. I think the more fascinating part of this story here is that Chuck Schumer has to do this because he's posturing to avoid his left flank taking over and primarying him in his upcoming election. I believe he's up for re-election in 26. AOC could likely challenge him, and he needs to flank more to the left and cover his left flank to avoid being primaried.
Here's
from AOC.
Do you think that's kind of baked in already? I mean, it's my impression that AOC is absolutely going to challenge him.
What do you agreed, but let's do the math here. If Schumer is actually saying be violent because he's trying to beat AOC, let's just go step by step. Okay. If Schumer says to people, be violent because he's trying to get ahead of AOC, what do you think the next course of action politically will be between AOC and Chuck Schumer?
Who could say to be more violent?
They're going to try to one-up each other in this area of direct conflict, direct action.
Wait, are they running against each other?
The presumption is AOC is going to try to primary Schumer in New York.
Okay.
She actually, the official reporting is she's looking at president or Senate.
And this could also explain as to why Chuck Schumer is leading a shutdown to show that he is fighting back against the Trump so-called fighting back against the Trump administration by shutting down the government.
Can I ask you a question quickly, Elaad? You mentioned this as retribution, and I think there's a few ways to understand that. Do you think that this is justified? Do you think it's good for them to go after her, or are you of the opinion that this is the kind of thing the administration should let go? I'm curious what your perspective is there.
I think this is payback. Can you repeat the second part of your question?
Yeah. I guess my question is,
I do think the DOJ
that's
is
a word that could,
politicized.
because that's a word that could be like prescriptive or descriptive. So my question is, like, when you call it retribution, often when people call it retribution, they mean that with a negative connotation. This is petty. This is pointless. This is political. He shouldn't be doing this. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that Democrats. It started actually before the president Donald Trump was indicted while Joe Biden was president, and I guess this is payback. Whether or not I think that's like justified or not. I think it is justified given the totality of the situation. These are people who have come. I think Tish James was involved. I forgot which case in particular, but I believe she brought one of the cases against him that eventually was to be dropped. And they went against all the Trump allies, too. Yesterday, you guys had on Peter Navarro, I believe it was. He had to spend time in jail for things that, what was it, contempt of court, or was that Bannon?
Contempt of Congress, I think.
Contempt of Congress, or one or the other. So do I think it's justified? Yeah, the DOJ has been politicized. If anybody has any sort of inkling of doing something wrong, then they should be punished to the full extent of the laws. But like, I believe there was I forgot who was reporting it, but there were also people in the Trump administration who have worked for Trump who have misfiled their mortgage filings in the past as well. And in the future, I'm sure the DOJ will continue to be politicized. So I guess the warning is that, what goes around comes around, but that's what's happening right now.
The warning is if Republicans lose, whoever wins the next election, that's it. We've seen what Democrats do with power. They arrested Trump's lawyers. I need to stress this for all of you. Jenna Ellis may be cowardly, but they arrested Trump's lawyers. Like, Trump was accused of bad things. So he said, I'm going to hire a lawyer. Well, actually what happened was Trump hired lawyers to assist him in his challenge of the election, which is literally a redress of grievances. Jenna Ellis drafted a letter at the request of Trump, so they charged her with 2 counts of RICO. They then got her to beg and cry and plead guilty. They went after Trump's lawyers. I think it was in Wisconsin. Look how they went after the J6ers. Look at the fake charges on the hush money thing, the falsification of business records. Those are misdemeanors they falsely claimed were felonies, and the court went along with it.
Yep.
So if y'all are crazy enough to think that we are playing this game of courts and whatever, I mean, look, conservatives went to Portland and got arrested. Like, I think 3 instances now where conservatives were attacked and the police in Portland arrested them. I'm just flabbergasted that there are people who are like, I can freely travel to Portland and the police will help me. It's like, are you joking? Well, you are an enemy partisan to these people.
Well, here's the wild thing. And part of why I wanted to ask you for clarification is because I think I understood how you meant it. I just wanted it to be clear to the audience. It's funny because people will say, oh, Trump is doing this for purely political reasons. But if that's the case, why do so many of these people have so much shadiness in their past that can be investigated, that can allow for them to be brought up on all these charges in the first place?
I mean, it's mortgage fraud, so I don't know if it's I wish they got him on something meatier, right? I wish they got Tish James on something more meaty than
I think
like her
fraud.
body, right? She's got a meaty body.
I think the point was literally to go after her for the exact same thing she accused Trump of, falsification of mortgage documents.
Okay, and if that was their point, I mean, I think they're also going against Peter Schiff with Adam Schiff, rather.
Peter Schiff?
Yeah.
Mortgage documents.
How dare he make bad predictions?
Peter Schiff.
Don't you think that
Schiff.
I feel like this is just like whatever opportunity presents itself, because these are things that are legitimate.
But if you don't have the goods,
but I think they actually do. If the evidence that we've seen about Letitia James is accurate, I think we do have the goods in there.
Let's pull up the story real quick. We've got this story from the New York Post. Letitia James' fugitive relative who lives in her Virginia home was arrested twice for assaulting cops. So here's the story. We just read a story where Chuck Schumer has called for people of all backgrounds to forcefully rise up against Trump, literally to be physically violent, because Trump has charged Letitia James. Now, the Trump admin, the DOJ, has charged Letitia James with falsifying a mortgage, claiming that an investment property was a primary residence, despite it being outside the state where she works, where she holds office, which is New York. The argument is that, it was a simple error and she has family living there. The Trump administration is arguing she falsified the mortgage application to get a beneficial interest rate because primary residences, you pay a lower interest rate. And that is better for her investment. Now, apparently, the rumor is she let a fugitive relative live there, someone who was wanted by the police. And the argument is, see, she did nothing wrong. She was having family stay there, to which the conservatives have responded, she was aiding and abetting a known fugitive from another state, in which case there's a lot more criminal action.
Things didn't get better, they got worse.
Airbnb in New York. I was doing that for 10 years there.
Dude, that's so insane that's their excuse. Yeah, it made it a million times worse. What if they knew that and they also knew that they were stupid enough to say that as a cover and this was all just for DHS?
Well, it says Nakia Thompson, 36, is currently wanted for absconding from North Carolina after failing to complete the terms of her parole following a 2011 arrest in Winston-Salem. Wow, this is crazy. So, I mean, but this is pretty nuts. So she's wanted in another state. And Letitia James has given her a residence to stay at in a different state to protect her. This is nuts.
No way. I thought nobody was above the law. Why would Letitia do that?
I mean, look, it's clear that she's, she was not only guilty of mortgage fraud, but that she was also aiding and abetting a fugitive. Wrap her up. Send the police.
Those two cancel out.
Okay.
Have you read page 4?
My bad.
It sounds like
Cancels
Letitia
out.
James bought this property specifically to aid a fugitive.
No way. She bought an entire house to do that?
I had 6 roommates.
You've got a
in Brooklyn.
relative who's fleeing from the law.
Oh my gosh.
Who needs to stay somewhere, and you say, "I'll get a house. You can stay there." Puts it in her name so people can't find her. And the only reason they're finding out now that she's there is because Letitia James was indicted for mortgage fraud. What if the move made by the Trump DOJ, Bill Pulte, when he said, "Hey, look, mortgage fraud," was actually just to pull the veil off of
That's
what
what
she's
I was
actually
saying.
doing.
Yeah, because they knew she was dumb enough to say something like that. But I just think that someone who believes nobody is above the law wouldn't do that. So it's not possible.
So here's the
I
thing.
refuse to believe it.
Good point.
Yeah, that's true.
If she's committing crimes here, I believe she should be, charged and whatever the highest level of crime that she committed.
If they have evidence of her committing crimes.
Yeah, but I kind of suspect that they don't, and I want to change my response, Seamus, from earlier. I kind of have mixed feelings of the DOJ with these, what I view as political indictments.
It just got worse. Hold on. It just got way worse, and you're like, I want to walk it back.
No,
Maybe they
because
shouldn't
I feel
charge
like
her.
I have the foresight also to know that, here's the thing, too. There's a couple of different factors at play here. First,
You're letting me
when the
down.
president was indicted by the Biden-era DOJ, it actually made him more popular, despite having to pay the legal fees and whatnot. All this thing, created a rally around the flag effect with the president. So I suspect that, Democrats might be rallying around Letitia James because as a
gambit.
result of this as well. But one other thing, I also have the foresight to foresee that when Democrats are eventually back in office, they will bring BS charges against.
Eventually.
We're going to do that anyway. We're going to do it anyway.
We talked about
so
this.
it's inevitable.
You think
We've discussed this. Yes,
if we
it's
let
inevitable.
Letitia go, they're not going to do that?
They already done
did it.
They have already done this stuff.
But he's wearing a suit. I believe him. That's true. That shit works, man.
No, so I mean,
I'm wearing a sweater. That's also smart guy clothes.
it's just going to escalate whenever somebody.
Yeah, but wait. I've got that folded up sleeve blue collar look, so you got to trust me because it's more authentic.
That's true. And you don't take the head. You're not
I could only
conceited.
afford this suit because I'm the APAC handler, and they pay me $7,000 per post per quote that I tell to Tim. When I tell him to tweet something, they give me $7,000. And,
I once posted the Israeli flag. Oh, gangbusters, just got paid.
yeah,
I did just get offered.
Wait, let's. What? No, what was you got?
Well,
you gotta
I
say
got
no.
offered
You're also getting paid?
3,000. I don't know what it was. They said 3,000 to do stand up at a dinner for Israel. But
Wait,
I go,
wait.
what does that mean?
Just respond with you're. It's $1 million to go to Saudi Arabia and be anti-Israel, so they got to pay up.
That's
gotta pony
I
up.
got up my raise.
Anyway, back to the point, Elaad. I forgive you for your ignorance. The Democrats have already done everything you're talking about.
Yep.
What you need to say is not when Democrats eventually get in power, they're going to do bad things. It's you are if Democrats get back into power.
I believe it's an inevitability that Democrats will eventually get back into power too.
The Biden administration falsely accused me of getting money from Russia, and I'm just some dude on the internet. Dave Rubin was making funny reaction videos to viral videos, and they lied and claimed that he was being paid to spread Russian propaganda. The whole story was fabricated. The lengths these people are willing to go to target regular citizens who voice their opinions, I am not at all right now concerned about doing something that maybe will anger the Democrats. They've already tried to destroy Trump, accusing him of being a traitor, going after his lawyers. And I learned this from Mike Benz today. I didn't know this. He said that I was a principal target in 2020 for the ballot harvesting narrative because it originated with me. He said that they traced back concerns about ballot harvesting to your videos, Tim, and we're trying to figure out ways to shut you down. So I'm sitting here being like, yeah, and then the Biden DOJ created a fake indictment. How often did Merrick Garland go and give public press conferences over indictments they didn't pursue? Never. One time, October. So don't Don't play. I can't play this game where it's like, we better be careful because if Democrats come into power, you got a lot more things to worry about, bro.
Yeah, we're in big trouble if they're back in power regardless.
Is there any way to stop the escalation of the politicization
Mike
of
Benz
the DOJ?
Well, here's
said
the thing.
yes.
They're not going to stop.
He said, we win if we can cut off their financing, strip them of their resources, and they don't exist. And I think he makes a really great point that the potential off-ramp isn't that we all decide to de-escalate. It's when we remove their ability to actually wage political conflict. And that is go after the Antifa financial sources, go after the NGOs, shut them down, and then maybe this country can get back on track and get some semblance of justice. But I'll put it this way. I would actually prefer that the Trump DOJ go after Letitia James for malicious prosecution. The problem is the fight against Letitia James pertaining to how they falsely brought charges against him. He had the Alvin Bragg case. The Bragg case was, I think, the falsification of records because Bragg was that Bragg who brought that one? Which one was James? Was the civil fraud, right?
Yeah, that was about the real estate case.
Right. So they're doing the same thing to her that she did to him.
Yeah.
If you want to try and prove that all the courts were in on it, oh boy, you're in for a 20-year legal battle. So right now, I think the Trump administration is basically saying, how do we win? And how do they win? Mass deportations, reforming the electoral process, getting rid of these ballot boxes and ballot harvesting, all the scams that have been pulled off in these blue states. And then we'll see. I believe, based on the moves Trump is making, I think Miller knows this very, very well. They are looking at how elections are run in this country. If they are on top of this, and it seems like they might be, I'm not going to give them 100% on this one, I don't see how the Republicans lose the midterms.
Tim, does it matter if they get convictions in these cases against Tish James or John Bolton or other Democrats?
Yes, to a certain degree. I think Benz makes a great point in that you need to strip them of their resources. It doesn't matter what they do. They live in a shoebox for all anyone cares. But
so, like, the process is the punishment.
No. Putting James in prison strips her ability to wage war and lawfare. So it's taking pieces off the board. Take a look at Nick Sorter. Why did he get arrested when he was in Portland? Take a piece off the board.
Yeah.
He contributes to a narrative. He challenges the far left in these jurisdictions. They need to remove him from this location. Unfortunately for them, the Trump DOJ got involved, and Nick had a large amount of followers. If Nick was Joe Schmo, some run-of-the-mill conservative guy went to Portland, that guy'd be locked up and no one would know about it.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely right. And they're aware of that. And this is not to be like, oh, everybody's special. But the reality is everyone does bring something different to the table. And when they take someone out of the game, that person's specific talent is no longer there to be used by the opposition.
Or we wait 18 years, all these liberal pregnant chits, they're taking Tylenol. So we wait 18 years.
They're on our side.
No one's able to vote.
No, bro.
Everyone's autistic.
Bro.
No, really, Tim. Really not kidding. My mom took a lot of Tylenol. You can tell. My name's Tyler. It's pretty close to Tylenol.
Brother, I have to interject because I'm not worried about them giving birth because they'll just get abortions.
What, but really,
Seamus is like,
you're right.
It's sad, but it's...
But Tim, don't you
I'm
think?
not wrong.
Don't you think? It's 18 years. They're getting abortions. The kids are all transing themselves. They're just going to slowly become.
They're going to
predicting this.
They're going to watch Twisted Plots and become right wing.
Well, actually, this is a good point Seamus brings up with his twistedplots.com fundraiser, is that liberals, I predicted this, they are more likely to abort their kids, less likely to have kids in the first place, more likely to trans their kids. So we're looking at, within the next 20 years, the next generation is going to skew massively conservative.
Yeah.
And then the next 20 years after that, it's going to be almost entirely conservative. And the new left-right paradigm is more, it's going to, like, me and Seamus are going to hate each other because I'm going to be the furthest.
You're going to be a far left fringe, like.
I know. It's going to be like abortion only in very rare circumstances. Oh, you monster. Like that was the left in this country for a long time.
Right. And aren't men skewing right and women? Isn't that just chasm growing by the day?
But that is because of what you're describing.
Right.
In the 2000s, liberals weren't having kids as much as conservatives were. So again, to the point about Twisted Plots, though, which is why I agree, and I think it's great Seamus is doing this, there needs to be cultural content. The cringest thing ever is when these conservatives are like, why are you doing things for kids? Because we want to convince kids to be a part of our culture and our worldview. There are a whole bunch of pro skateboarders who preach gospel. And we had one guy come out here and did construction, and he had Bible verses on his vehicle. And he's not preaching. He's building a skate park, right?
Yeah.
When kids come out and they see this and ask him about it, he doesn't go to them and force it upon them. He says, let me tell you about what it is that I do. Thank you for asking. How do you get kids to care about what it is you do? You have to reach them. You got to fish where the fish are.
Yeah, and this
comedy.
Yeah, and what we're doing is like it's like PG to PG-13, not super obscene, but not for like little kids either. Maybe something you'd want to watch first before showing your kids, but it's something that I think a lot of families are going to enjoy for sure. And it's a very important asset in the culture war to be able to make entertaining content, because the left didn't convince this country to abandon its values and become psychotic by having lectures thrown in their movies, right? They just told stories that you walked away from thinking, oh, wow, like the person who cheated on their spouse did turn out to be the good guy in that. Or, oh my gosh, like it was the bad guy was the Christian, the priest was evil.
I disagree. I think actually this shift in content is relatively recent, over the past 15 or so years. The example I often give being Captain America to Captain Marvel. Captain America was, 2010? And he's like, I really want to join the army so bad, I will lie to do it. And then 10 years later, they're like, I'm a girl boss who always had the power, but the man was holding me down.
Yeah.
That was so conservatives never came out and celebrated content they wanted. They took it for granted.
Yeah.
And then when the woke started getting these jobs, they attacked culture intentionally. Now, conservatives, it's funny because these values were Hollywood. It was an American principle, these ideas. But when the woke took over and pushed it all out, default libs just got in line.
And simultaneously, if that's a word,
Right? If that's a lazy word.
How do we say that word? Remember that with acetaminophen? He's like, let's see how to say that word.
But at the same time, everyone, I was getting demonetized. I know, I'm sure you guys got hit. So while the woke were going super woke, everybody who was trying to get that normal, regular, all-American content was getting banned and censored, right? Yeah. It was like a perfect storm.
Yeah,
Now.
that was the goal. Like, they wanted to make sure that not only that they had control over what was considered acceptable for entertainment and stuff, but they also were simultaneously trying to accuse people that didn't ascribe to their worldview, trying to accuse them of being, all of the worst things imaginable.
And then a lot of those people are now performing for Saudi princes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's true, yeah.
It's like, right, Bill
Burr.
him, right, Bill Burka, right? No, I don't know. The Crown Prince, he was a good guy, right?
Yeah,
we had a good time, right?
It's an accident, yeah.
I brought one of those scarves from my
canceled
wife,
the-
wrapped her up.
You see this? He canceled the show or something?
Bill?
Yeah, because
He's
of the
getting
backlash.
annihilated. I mean, I've never seen more backlash on a comedian's Instagram than his.
Yeah, he canceled a live podcast taping 5 days ago because he's just getting absolutely obliterated.
Did you see his last ad in his podcast? Right, it was camel milk chocolate, right? He's doing all the... Oh, no, this will take your head off, right? You
This
take
is
one
wild.
bite.
We'll talk about this one in a second, but we got to jump to this next story right here. We got this one from Fox 32 Chicago. This is the channel I used to watch all the time growing up.
Yeah, dude, 32.
32, Simpsons on at 5:30.
That's right.
Yeah, Border Patrol vehicle rammed before clash on Chicago's southeast side, officials say. They say it happened around noon near South Avenue N and East 105th Street in the East Side neighborhood. Chicago police say officers were called to the 10500 block of South Avenue for a crash involving federal authorities. CPD says they weren't part of the operation but responded. A DHS spokesperson said the incident began when a vehicle driven by an illegal alien rammed a Border Patrol vehicle and tried to flee. Agents pursued and eventually stopped the vehicle using a precision immobilization technique, a pit maneuver. DHS says 2 people then ran from the car but were caught and taken into custody. We actually have this video from Nick Sorter of what happened, ABC7. This is wild. Check this out. A crowd starts forming with flags to defend the illegals who attacked DHS, and then they begin lobbing stones at the police.
Again, when you first got on scene and you were able to talk to some neighbors and some witnesses there on the scene, and describe to us what initially...
Judy, wait 1 second. I see Chicago police are arriving and putting themselves in the middle of the situation right now. It appears there might be someone in command, from what I can see, approaching the area. I'm not sure if this is in an attempt to start dispersing the crowds. but we have just in the last few seconds seen Chicago police who had remained at bay now starting to put themselves in the middle of the.
They're throwing rocks now. There it is. You see them?
Protesters are starting.
Let's go back because he throws tear gas. But I want you guys. You can see one of the DHS guys looks over as a rock goes flying. Immediately after another rock goes flying.
Police who had remained at bay.
So take a look at this cop right here.
To put themselves.
He's going to look up and over as there. Something was just thrown.
God.
There's another rock thrown.
Protesters are
they just
starting
launched
to throw
tear gas.
rocks. We're going to get away from the scene right now, Judy.
Yeah.
Okay, Michelle, you take care of yourself. I'm going to let her get off the phone. We really appreciate it. Get to a safe place.
Rocks are deadly weapons.
So what you're watching,
Indeed.
what you continue to watch is exactly
so
what
the
Michelle
tear gas,
possibly moved
look at
their
this.
vehicles. And it was at that
they
point
threw off more gas. So, I love this because these liberals are like, you're a bootlicker, blah, 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 because you're defending the cops. And I'm like, they're my cops. Like, it's when I hire security guards and they tell me, like, stand back, I don't go, hey, you don't tell me what to do. Like we were driving in Phoenix and we had this guy who's a SEAL, he's like a SEAL guy doing our security, and it was me and Brandon, and then Brandon was like, hey, you want to park? Like, where do you want to park? And then I said, it's up to him. Security guy is hired specifically to tell me how to stay safe. These cops, these agents on the ground are doing the job we voted for them to do.
That's exactly
We have
right.
asked them to do this. They have stood in harm's way on our behalf for us. And this is important. Police were trying to arrest a criminal, and these people started attacking the police. So I'm not here to play these stupid games with these psychotic terrorists. When we asked these brave men to please go out here and do this job, and they got attacked.
Well, dude, and also you can't take the phrase bootlicker seriously because 99% of the people who use it want higher taxes. Like, all right, they want more gun restrictions. They want to be told what to do.
Look, if they're throwing rocks, those are deadly weapons. Like that is an escalation, and they're lucky that the police respond with tear gas.
Amen.
And with like rubber bullets or less than lethal means. You're throwing rocks at the cops. You're trying to significantly injure them. Like serious bodily harm or death is what you're hoping for. If they hit a cop in the head that didn't have a helmet on, you could break his skull open. Like you get what you ask for, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're asking for violence from the police.
Yeah, and like again, aside from I agree with you.
Well, they're starting violence.
They're starting violence. Aside from just the morality of it, it is obviously not a smart idea to throw a rock at a person who has a gun. I
don't think that they actually do have
because
guns.
then they might shoot the rock out of the sky.
I think they most likely have less lethal stuff. So they have paintball guns that have.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure these guys have guns though.
Yeah, I think they.
I mean, these guys aren't riot control. These guys were out trying to arrest criminals.
Oh, all right.
And then they got attacked by them.
Yeah, well,
this is what the Democrat administration did. I'm gonna go back to Elaad because he made this point that I hear a lot of people on the like moderate right say like, well, Democrats are eventually going to get back into power and you better watch out. It's like, bro, they brought in at the low end 10 million illegal immigrants who are now engaged in violence against our law enforcement trying to deal with it. If Democrats get back into power, there's not going to be a United States.
They should all be deported.
The Democrats?
Those who are violent against our DHS agents.
They're not guaranteed to be immigrants, though.
No, but I think you should be denaturalized and deported if you are violent towards our DHS agents, though. I don't care about this if you were born in America.
No, I mean...
Therefore, you are an American citizenship. The anchor babies are an issue. People who are advocating violence against our DHS agents are a serious issue. People who lobby for revolution are a serious issue in our country. DHS agents, I feel very bad for because there's so much fear-mongering surrounding them between activists online. I cover a lot of DHS arrests, and you could tell from the comments online, the activist groups around them, likening them to Nazis, talk about shooting officers online very often on all these social media platforms. And it doesn't stop there because then you also have Democrat politicians likening them to the Gestapo, people like Tim Walz in Minnesota and whatnot. So I foresee an increase in violence towards these agents, not decreasing it. And it makes me more sympathetic to the argument that these guys should be able to be masked, because we're seeing a ton of people dox these agents, and then they're not only seeing violence towards them in the streets, but also online and towards their families once they go home. I'm ambivalent on the masking stuff.
Well, it's interesting. No, I mean, I think a lot of what you said there is right on the money. The left just murdered a moderate conservative who was speaking to college students. When you say this law enforcement agency that some fraction of the public doesn't like are Gestapo or are Nazis, what are you obviously calling for, right?
You know, I need to hit up Constantine and Francis over Trigonometry again and have a follow-up to our conversation from when was it? Earlier in the year, right? It was like April
probably,
or something.
Yeah, it was the springtime.
Because I was talking about the fears of a civil war emerging, and now we've seen such a dramatic escalation.
In England or here?
No, here.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, there's talk of in Great Britain as well, conflict breaking out. But I was talking to them about fear of civil war in the United States, and they made the point that most people who are unlearned on the issue make, and that is not meant to be derisive. It is most people aren't aware of how conflicts emerge. And so the point they made is actually fairly common, and it's I go outside and I don't see anything like this, so why should I assume any of this is going to happen? And it's fascinating because literally never in history has it been that a government changed and there's a revolution or a civil war because every single person in every city went out of their house and started fighting somebody randomly in the street. You would not see it. However, based on that conversation, where are we now? If you look at Chicago, it looks like we have front lines forming. The fact that DHS has now been rammed and attacked, I think this may be the third or fourth time or more. Because our news team was like, I've lost track of how many rammings we've seen attacks in Chicago. One of the most infuriating videos I've seen was DHS trying to arrest a guy who is presumed to be an illegal immigrant, because we don't know the story. And this guy is screaming, Ayúdame, help me. And people run up and help him. So you've got a guy who's here illegally. We voted as Americans to remove these people and for law enforcement to do this job. And there are people attacking our law enforcement to shut that job down and help the criminals escape. That is a terrifying reality as to what's going on in this country. We voted. The will of the people be done. They're responding in places like Chicago, Portland, and the entirety of California. No. What's going to happen when Zoran Mamdani wins in New York?
Oh, man.
He outright said he's going to take $100 million from the public coffers to fund illegal immigrant legal fees. So the public taxpayer will be financing the destruction of their own home state, home city.
I mean, imagine living and paying taxes in New York right now.
I just moved to Texas.
Good call.
I just felt it.
Call, dude.
I didn't really move. The criminals forced me out. I mean,
They chased you.
well, everything. The
You ran the whole
criminals, the wokeism, the feminism, the you can't work because you didn't get the vaccine. It was like
my
it was everything.
That was insane.
It was everything at once.
Yeah, you made the right choice.
I'd be embarrassed to live there if he was the mayor. I mean, I'd actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something that I probably shouldn't say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I am not going back to Chicago anytime soon until there is clarification on the status of politics in this country. I don't know if I can find this story. Let me see if I can. Live streamers, NBC Chicago. But when Luke Rudkowski, hey, look at this. There it is. I did find it. Luke Rudkowski and I, as well as a handful of other people, this is a very old story. Look, it's gone. Oh, here we go. Live streamers, new faces of journalism, a new breed of journalist. We got profiled by NBC5 Chicago 13 years ago. And here we go. Tell me the story. Hey, here's why I'm not going back to Chicago. May 20th, 2012, independent journalist detained at gunpoint by CPD. Chicago police tried planting drugs in our car to put us in prison.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a crazy story. And I've been having this conversation security-wise with what time it is with a lot of people. And I said, guys, in Portland, Nick Sorter was attacked by Antifa, went to the police to report it, and they arrested him. It is only because he's got a large number of followers and the Trump DOJ intervened publicly that they decided not to press charges and go after him. In 2012, when I went to Chicago, Luke Rudkowski, myself, my friend Jeff, Jess, and Luke's friend, I forget his name. You can see here, Tim Pool has been covering the NATO protests, was detained around 2 a.m. Whoa. The long story short of it is we got surrounded by like I don't know, 10 vehicles. I can't remember the total number. Only 2 of them were marked. They illegally pulled us out, searched the vehicle, took all of our possessions and belongings. We're trying to pop open batteries and cameras to look if there's anything inside. Wrote down credit card numbers, passport numbers, ID numbers. Then some guy came up and said, so, your vehicle matched the description. That's why we stopped you, but you're free to go. Long story short, after this, someone that we believed to be under the direction of a police informant was trying to plant Adderall in our vehicle. And only because of my experience with operational security, I was able to stop that from happening. After which, we got tips from people the police were trying to track down our vehicle, presumably because...
For Adderall? We got 3 Focus drivers here.
Yeah, it's a 4-year mandatory.
They're abiding by every law, blinkers on point. That's crazy.
Having a pill bottle that doesn't belong to you in your vehicle is 4 years in prison mandatory.
Jesus.
Yes, in Illinois.
I gotta go move my car.
So if that person was able to successfully plant those drugs in our car, and then we got pulled over a second time, I think what happened was the cops pulled us over hoping that they were going to find something, thinking that these guys are going to have something we can get them on. They had previously arrested, there's something called like the NATO 5, arrested on terror charges because they found beer-making equipment that they accused these leftists, these are Antifa guys, they accused them of having Molotov cocktail
I thought Jimmy
stuff.
Kimmel just said Antifa doesn't exist.
It's not real.
Well, at the time, they didn't call them Antifa. These are just far leftists. Okay. So it's a long story. I talked about it before, but basically what happened was I instructed everybody who was with us, they couldn't bring anything in the car, and anything consumable, edible, or disposable be thrown away, and the only thing they could bring with was hard equipment and clothing. And long story short, someone who we believe was under the direction of a police informant or police themselves was trying to sneak drugs into the car, and had we gotten pulled over. So where I am at right now,
That was Chicago?
That was Chicago, yeah. And Chicago's notorious for having black sites where they'll arrest, quote unquote, somebody and bring them to an undisclosed location to beat and torture them. People, like, this is Chicago, bro. You had John Burge, I think his name was. Whoa. He would electrocute people and force confessions out of them with a cattle prod or something like that. Charlie Kirk has been murdered. They are arresting conservatives in Portland right now who have committed no crimes. They are clearly, by any means necessary, making moves against their enemy partisans. So I have been telling people, understand what time it is and what this means. If you go to a corrupt place like Chicago in the midst of a conflict where illegal aliens are attacking DHS and the governor is siding with the illegal immigrants and the judges are telling DHS to remove the barriers around their facilities to allow the rioters to attack them, what do you think they will do to you? It's real simple.
Yeah.
To be fair, like someone like me, I may have a large enough following to where, like Nick Sorter, they'd back off. But there's going to be potentially, with what's going on in Chicago, a lesser known personality. They'll get disappeared. They're gonna get grabbed. The cops are gonna say, "Oops, found coke," and there's gonna be no one to help them because they only have a small number of followers, something like that. Considering what happened to Nick, and because right now we don't even know these other guys that Andy No reported on, a conservative got hit in the head with what was presumed to be a rock, ends up in the hospital. The cops come to the hospital and criminally charge him.
Yep.
Now, we don't know what's going on with that, but I'm telling you guys, understand what time it is. If you show up and you're standing at the Broadview Center for ICE or whatever, I think you are naive to think that they are not going to criminally charge you with something and they can make it up.
Yeah, it is.
That's what they did to Nick. I am not talking about a hypothetical. I am telling you, Nick Sorter is on camera being physically attacked by Antifa, and then the police lied to arrest him, and it's only because he has a following and the DOJ got involved that he was released without charge. What's going to happen to the rest of us or anyone else who goes to these jurisdictions? You know what? Tell me I'm paranoid, that's fine. Look up the story, independent journalist detained at gunpoint by CPD. This has happened, and right now it's hotter than it's ever been.
Look, like your remarks about partisans and the way that the police, law enforcement, depending on where they are, how they treat people, it's absolutely obvious to anyone that'll look. I mean, whether it be the FBI when it was under the previous administration going after parents because they didn't want their kids to be taught certain subjects in school about gender ideology or what have you, the way the FBI treated conservatives across the board. There were a bunch of people that were under investigation by the FBI, or the FBI was monitoring what they were doing and what they were saying. If you are a public conservative and you are in the wrong jurisdiction, you will be targeted. The AG, if Jay Jones wins in Virginia next month, and you're a conservative, you can guarantee that you will not get treated to the same type of justice system that a Democrat would. This is without question.
An important point is Jay Jones said he wanted his opponent's children murdered. And that if he had the option to shoot Hitler, Pol Pot, or the Republican speaker in Virginia, he'd shoot the Republican speaker twice.
But him as DA, he's going to treat you fairly if you're a conservative. Give me a break. That's insane to think.
This is on a much smaller scale, but in New York City, I think I talked about this 4 years ago. I was on your show. I got told I wasn't going to be hired because I'm white. I have it on tape.
Yeah.
I'm now on year 4, and we haven't even. We're just finishing the discovery phase.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's like, it's on my attorney said he's never seen a more clear case of discrimination.
What do you think
in New York City?
What do you think New York's going to be like if Zohran Mamdani wins?
Right.
Tyler, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with your case.
Sure.
You were, what was it, not hired because you were white? You were told that because you were white?
Not only that.
To your face?
Well, it was on a phone call. So I was like I was in Hollywood. I was acting on TV shows and I was on Chicago Med, actually, played a drug addict. But
So just method acting, right?
yeah, meth acting.
It's in the eyes.
Yeah, meth head acting.
Oh, meth acting. Yeah,
Meth head acting.
Yeah, I was like the fucking Aaron Paul of drug addict horse jockeys. That was a horse jockey.
Sweet.
But anyways, I was booking a lot of roles, and then all the BLM stuff, the first wave, then the second wave, and they started to tell me outright. I would book a commercial campaign. They'd call and go, "We want you because you do impressions or whatever it is." But we got to put a black face or XYZ. And I started to document this. And then I would get called in, hey, we want you to be on SNL. So I would get one of the big time agents. And then they'd say, it's not a good time for white guys. So I have a whole slew of stuff. And everyone was calling me the racist. This is what happened in New York City. And then I got the last call on tape, an acting manager, AGI they're called. And they said it's our company policy to not represent white men right now.
What?
They scouted me.
They said those words. They said it's our company policy to not represent white men.
I went on Dr. Phil. I played. It's
That's insane.
and it's got no, whatever. But that's just the reality.
Because what you need to understand is, imagine you go to Qatar and beg them to allow women to go to school, drive, and own their own homes and properties. They're going to be like, yeah, okay, buddy. That's what you're trying to do when you go to these jurisdictions,
right.
to impose your ideological wills on these people. The same thing is true when I said advice. I was told that when they hired me, it was the negotiations I literally had with the guys' advice was, I can do social media and live streaming, but I can't do documentary. I want to do the HBO stuff. And they said, okay, we'll do the documentary stuff with you. You do the live stream stuff with us. We'll figure it out. Did a handful of docs that did really, really well. The Kim.com one got millions. The I field produced the North Korea one, it got millions. And then I was told by a producer I couldn't host for HBO because HBO didn't want any white men. When I
remember you told me that.
When I went to Fusion, they had something. There was an event called the Black and Brown Forum where they were going to have Democratic candidates. It was like Bernie and Hillary and someone else. And they had the top talent, their senior talent, except me. They contracted a black comedian. And when I asked the president of the company, why did they bring someone else in when I'm one of their senior talent and they're paying a lot of money, he said, you look too white. And I was like, I am second generation mixed race. He goes, yeah, but you look white. I'm like, holy crap.
Normal for them to say it. They're so confident. See, that's the thing. It's like, they're the tyrannical ones. They're the racist ones.
I mean, that's openly against the law, right? The Civil Rights Act prevents that.
And it's
literally
4 years I've been spending half of my time on that while being called the racist for even pursuing.
And the Republicans are like, we can't break the law. We can't do anything that skirts the law. Even though it is the norm nowadays.
I want to pull up this
for the
story.
left to ignore the law.
I want to pull up this story from ABC7 Chicago. What happens if federal agents defy court orders? Experts weigh in. Well, they're too terrified to put the real headline up on ABC7. But the actual statement made by their journalists is, federal law enforcement have defied the courts in using riot control munitions in Chicago, which may or may not be true. Doesn't matter. Liberals in Illinois and in these jurisdictions now are operating under the assumption that Trump is defying the courts. Let me play this news report from ABC7.
What happens if federal agents refuse to follow court orders? And the answer isn't good. Allegations this weekend of federal agents not following rulings from judges prohibiting certain crowd control tactics, and questions today over potential unlawful arrests. During an interaction with immigration agents in Northwest Side Albany Park Sunday, video appears to show agents deploying tear gas against the public without any audible warning, something that is unlawful under a court order from last week.
Leave them alone!
Immigration agents outside of a church in Rogers Park Sunday during a Spanish-language mass. Questions tonight over whether they had warrants targeting specific people or were there without warrants, something that requires additional probable cause and an assessment of an immigrant's flight risk.
What we have seen now on a much larger scale is federal agents indiscriminately stopping and arresting individuals without warrants and without probable cause required by federal immigration laws.
A fence still up around the Broadview ICE facility restricting access to a public road tonight after a judge ruled it should be taken down. The deadline to do so is tomorrow night. But what happens if federal agents refuse?
I am very worried about where we are right now. We are on the precipice looking into the abyss of chaos. If somebody says the judiciary makes a decision and then the executive branch ignores it, that's chaos.
Former federal prosecutor Ron Safer says federal judges can rule according to the law. But if the executive branch, in this case federal agents, refuse to follow those rulings, judges don't have an army to enforce their orders.
Normally, judges enforce their ruling by contempt orders, and then the person who is violating the order is fined or imprisoned if it's bad enough. How do you do that to a cabinet level official? And who is going to enforce that?
At that point, the Constitution and American norms require the executive branch to enforce itself, something Safer is skeptical the president will do.
Let's just put it this way. We got about another minute to play, but let's put it this way. There are law enforcement officers at the Broadview facility, which is southwest side of Chicago, being instructed to remove the protective barrier that is keeping them safe from violent extremist rioters following, over the past several months, terror attacks on several ICE officers and DHS. A judge has now ruled the fence must be taken down by law enforcement, and if these cops do not remove it, they will need to be arrested by law enforcement. So answer me this. Which law enforcement division is going to arrest other law enforcement officers, the federal level, for protecting themselves from terrorists? Does anybody think it's reasonable that if I go to FPS and say, a judge ruled that what CBP did is illegal, you go and arrest them? What did they do? They put up shields and barriers to protect themselves from violent extremists who are trying to kill them. They're going to say no, because then when we try to protect ourselves, we'll get arrested too. So we're not going to do it. Let's just roll the rest of this tape.
It is norms that presidents will respect the decisions of the courts, that they will respect the views of the governors. That's out the window. And that is going to create and is creating crises on the streets and in Washington and across the country.
Now, the I-Team reached out to ICE about the incident in Albany Park. We have not heard back, but whatever party is in power, the courts are the answer for potential government overreach. But the enforcement doesn't come from the courts. If you're talking about the federal government, it comes from the federal government itself.
So right now we have, once again, to reiterate, there have been a series of terror attacks against ICE over the past several months, some with people hiding with long guns and opening fire, 2 incidents. And now you have these ongoing and sustained riots. You have numerous instances in Chicago where people have rammed DHS vehicles, potentially trying to kill these ICE officers. Just today, as we covered in a previous segment, a CBP vehicle was rammed by illegal aliens. They pulled a pit maneuver, fled, and then a crowd formed and began lobbing rocks at these police. A court told these cops to remove their protection. By tonight, it must be removed. If the cops do not remove it, they are subject to contempt from the courts. How does this country function when a judge says to a police officer, effectively remove your armor?
I mean, and what is the possible rationale for that? Well, I mean, we know why he did it. It's because the police are his enemy and people breaking the law are those who he wants to protect. I don't think there's any other rational explanation for it. But what's the pretext? What was his argument from law?
The pretext was that it blocks streets that ambulances need to run through, and that therefore wasn't legally put up by the state. That's what their argument literally
okay,
is.
so the fence around their facility is they're arguing it would prevent emergency services.
Correct. And like fire trucks and ambulances and things like that.
And other riots.
I think what's actually going on is pretty obvious. When the ICE facility in Portland boarded up their windows, the city ordered them to remove it, citing a zoning violation.
Yeah.
What they're actually saying is, we will use the power of bureaucracy so that you are forced to expose yourselves, because conservatives keep playing by the rules.
That's right.
They keep saying, like, we must abide by the laws and the rules. Even Trump was just ordered by a judge. He's allowed to federalize the National Guard but not deploy them. How does that make sense? He's allowed to assume command of the National Guard, but he can't give commands to the National Guard?
Makes zero sense.
Makes zero sense. But Trump keeps saying okay to unconstitutional acts by judges. Why is it? How does this country function when one political faction says we will abide by all rules, unconstitutional or otherwise, and the other side says we won't?
Well, and this is the crux of the entire immigration issue. For literal decades, what the left did is they intentionally failed to enforce laws that were already on the books and that people voted for with respect to immigration. And now that the country's been flooded with tens of millions of people who don't belong here, they want to cite every minutia of the law when it comes to removing those people.
It's because they don't care about the law.
Yep.
They don't have principles. Principles are a tool to use against you.
Yep.
They do not care about the law. They only care about the exercise of power. Whatever argument they make, they will make the opposite argument tomorrow when it is convenient. It does not matter what the law is. They only care about exercising power. And like most of the people that will make arguments, they don't even understand like if there's an end goal. They just know that they've been told that the right is bad, and so that they should just say whatever they can to stymie the right.
Exactly. They're team
living
bad
in
guy.
a fantasy land. I mean, quite literally, will do anything against logic and reason. Doesn't matter. It's chaos.
I think it's worth talking about how the Democrats and the left have set up a permission structure to permit them and their activists and protest siblings to obstruct legal law enforcement from doing their job to such a degree that the right has become way too comfortable with. So we're seeing Democrats around the country encourage activists and protesters to obstruct DHS activity at their different court hearings and at different CPB areas where they're having their processing facilities. They're blocking the gates in which their DHS vehicles are escorting different illegal immigrants that they've detained and literally obstructing their duties, but they're not really being arrested for it, and I think that's a serious issue. These aren't just, random activists that are doing it. It's elected Democrat officials that are getting in the way. Yeah. So, for example, in New Jersey, there was this new rep, this freshman rep, LaMonica McIver, who was I believe, charged for assaulting an ICE officer. In New York City, we are seeing Democrats like Brad Lander and Jumaane Williams obstruct at immigration courts in New York City where DHS is trying to arrest illegal immigrants.
And you've witnessed this, right?
And I've witnessed this multiple times. And it's such that they're describing them as, again, Nazis, fascists. They're not, in their language, detaining and arresting people. They're kidnapping and disappearing people.
That's right.
And using this rhetoric gives their activists and protesters the permission structure to say, when we obstruct this activity, it's actually a good thing. So I also think I saw Democrat, she's running for the House somewhere in Chicago, Kat Abou-Zagala, and she was also obstructing the gates and encouraging others to obstruct the gates outside these ICE facilities. And I don't think this is a sustainable thing. I don't think DHS can continue to allow these protests to happen outside of their facilities because they pose a legitimate threat and obstruction to what they're trying to achieve, and a non-legal one. And we're also seeing different police not collaborate with DHS in their communities. So when protesters protest outside this Chicago ICE facility, they're forced to deal with it by themselves. And you don't see the Chicago Police Department defending ICE or the ICE facility.
Let's jump to the story from the New York Post, talk about how serious this is. The New York Post reports Mexican cartels put bounties of up to $50,000 on heads of ICE CBP officers in Chicago.
Mexican cartels.
Mexican criminals have offered Chicago gangs up to $50,000 to murder top officials at both ICE and CBP. The DHS has announced Tuesday in an intelligence bulletin. DHS revealed a tiered system of bounties starting at $2,000 for doxing agents, including details about their families, in two southwest Chicago neighborhoods, Pilsen and Little Village. Local gangs have deployed armed spotters to rooftops to track law enforcement movements and relay the details via radio. The surveillance has enabled ambushes and disruptions during routine enforcement actions, including recent raids under Operation Midway Blitz, said DHS, which added that non-lethal assaults and rank-and-file ICE and CBP officers could net gang members between $5,000 and $10,000. These criminal networks are not just resisting the rule of law, they are waging an organized campaign of terror against the brave men and women who protect our borders and communities, Kristi Noem said in a statement. Our agents are facing ambushes, drone surveillance, death threats, all because they dare to enforce the laws passed by Congress. We will not back down from these threats. And every criminal, terrorist, and illegal alien will face American justice. I'm just going to stop. Trump needs to invoke the Insurrection Act. This is not a game. We cannot have criminal gangs and cartels telling us how we live our lives in this country.
Well, yeah, because these judges and certain law enforcement agencies in this country seem to be on the same side as these criminal organizations that are putting hits out on law enforcement agencies that are actually accountable to the president and obeying the chain of command.
Look, this is, if there are cartels that are, putting price on the head of ICE officers and stuff, maybe it's time that the federal government start applying pressure on the Mexican government.
Yeah.
50,000. I mean, that'll get you producer credit on my Give, Send, Go for my new upcoming movie, and I think that'll get you ownership of cartoon.
Not ownership. But we would appreciate 50,000.
But yeah, I mean, look, the United States currently has stated that there are that the cartels are terrorist organizations. If this is the game that the cartels want to play, there is a history of the United States using the military to go after cartel members.
Aren't they blowing up the ships?
They're blowing. Those ships tend to be leaving from Venezuela. So Mexican. Okay. These are Mexicans. So the point being, like, this is not a fight they actually want to pick, right? Like, the U.S. has ample ability to take apart terrorist organizations, which we've shown, whether people want to admit it or not. Like, the politics in the Middle East have been problematic, but the actual ability of the United States to find and kill terrorists, that is unquestionably they are the most deadly organization in the world. And so all the people that are like, well, if you go after the cartels, they're going to go after Americans. Well, if they're putting the prices on the heads of ICE agents and stuff, that means they're already going after Americans. And if they're going after Americans for enforcing immigration law, not for going after cartel members in Mexico, not for disrupting their organization's business, but because ICE has the audacity to try to deport what are likely cartel members. Because they're not going to try and target ICE just because they're going after people that are of Mexican origin.
Just illegals. Good point. They're going after just illegals.
Yeah, but the point that I'm making is if the cartels are going to put a bounty on ICE's head, it's because they're deporting people that give them influence or sell drugs in the United States. So the U.S. wraps up cartel members, sends them back, deports them. The cartels don't like that because they're less influential. They have less power. So if that's the case, right, why shouldn't the U.S. start sending drones into Mexico to monitor what the cartels are doing?
Or he could do Trump. He'll like tell a terrorist he knows where they are.
We know where Jose is. He's sitting in his living room in his favorite blue chair.
I got your IP address. I hacked it.
He's watching Girls, which is a really nasty show. But
just start sending those letters out. Give him a little heads up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I totally agree with everything you're saying there, Phil. Obviously, something needs to be done. The fact that, and you're right, because listen, the idea was to go after people with a prior rap sheet first. And a lot of the people you hear about getting arrested, it's someone who has like 5 felonies or they've been arrested 30 times. So it would make sense that a lot of those people would be gang members and that the cartels would say, this guy's an asset to us here and try to step in.
Look, we're heading into a period of increased civil strife. I'm going to put on my Tim Pool beanie for a moment. I don't know if it's going to lead us to civil war, but violence towards right-wingers or right-wing coded people has become completely normalized. The rhetoric surrounding it has become completely normalized. The permission structure around it exists. on the left's perspective, you are hurting or taking down people who are violent, who are disappearing people, who are Nazis, who are Gestapo, who are affirming or allowing these people to continue to exist. One of the reasons why I'm so ambivalent about the DOJ and these charges is because Kristi Noem's going to be charged the next time a Democrat is in the House or is in charge again, and Stephen Miller's also going to be charged for things related to their ICE or DHS activity. But I also suspect there being more violence against these guys. I suspect there to be more violence coming towards right-wingers because the permission structure, again, is set up. It's become normalized on the left for them to talk about the right-wing people in these violent terms.
Even just reputation destruction, too. It's like it starts with, even during COVID, I saw the seed of all of this stuff where you just call somebody an anti-vaxxer, a far-right, a racist. That's where it started. It's like the small crimes in the cities. You don't give them a ticket or you don't, prosecute them for stealing something from CVS, and it just grows.
It's worth mentioning the mentality of the people who are fighting back against ICE. They think they're superheroes, guys.
They love Marvel movies.
Like, they think they are saving the world. They think they are fighting for humanity. They think they are literally have an Anne Frank that they're hiding in their basement or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what they believe in their mind,
Yes.
and they are so morally righteous that it's justified for them to be violent against ICE agents. It's actually morally wrong for them not to do anything because these guys are literal Nazis that might as well be taking their neighbors to gas chambers. That's how they moralize this stuff.
I think you're completely right. And by the way, if this is the way they're acting and what they're doing while we have power, what do they do if they come to power again?
We already saw what they did before.
Exactly, but it's going to be even worse.
What if Kamala Harris had 110 days? She. How many days do you think that book would have gone if she had 4,000 days?
Dude,
my entire life.
Yeah, she's wonderful. She was a lot of fun.
I hope she runs.
I think that if Democrats are to get back executive branch power, you are going to get a plethora of indictments against prominent personalities in the media space.
Yep.
And worse. You're going to get those indictments, but you're also going to see street violence against conservatives.
Well, that's going to happen now because they don't have
I know, but I'm
executive
saying
power.
but I think it's going to increase if they take power again because we're in power and no one's doing anything to stop it. When Democrats are in power, they're definitely not going to do anything to stop it.
But I don't care about street violence.
Oh.
Obviously, it's a problem, what's going on in Chicago and in Portland and things like this. But where I'm at right now, don't come to West Virginia. You will find out what happens when you come to a constitutional carry state.
I feel safe here.
Bringing this violence. Mm-hmm. However, if Democrats get power again, then they are going to. They brought up false. Listen, we all saw what happened in Egypt after the Second Revolution. The Muslim Brotherhood kept winning, so they decided to just gun them down. Democrats returning to power are going to say, listen, we have tried the censorship. We've tried the suppression. It doesn't work against these people. They have to be excised by force.
Yeah.
And they've already tried smears, lies, and destruction. Look what they did to Alex Jones. Supreme Court won't even hear his appeal on this ridiculous $1.4 billion defamation case. They falsely accused me, Benny, Dave, and others of secretly or inadvertently getting paid by Russia to spread propaganda, which is totally fabricated. The next step is pretty obvious. They lost that election. They're pissed. If Trump does not win, then I imagine all of us in this room are going to be in some kind of legal trouble to varying degrees.
Yep. Already am.
Sure. But I think you'll see.
I'm the one suing, though. I just want to point that out.
You'll see. There'll be an escalation of force. There's going to be, from the NGO level, lawsuits against prominent right-wing individuals. At the lower level, at the higher level, you'll see outright indictments. They'll fabricate evidence. They'll use, hey, show me the man, show me the crime, and you are going to see people getting locked up. So pay attention right now to who in the political space, passively or actively, are pulling back, shutting up, or bowing out.
A lot of people.
Indeed, they are.
Yep.
And I think it's because there are a lot of people who are sitting there being like, have you guys seen the movie Dogma?
Yep.
You have? Seamus?
No.
I feel like you'd be offended by it. You should probably watch it.
Probably.
I'm actually watching it right now.
So Azrael is a demon, and in the battle between heaven and hell, he was a muse and refused to fight. And so when he's challenged on this, he says, I was a muse. I have no place in the battlefield. And they call him a coward. That's kind of the analogy I see to what's happening now with a lot of prominent people. And it's not just now. There are a lot of people in the culture war in the 2010s who were active against wokeness, and then all of a sudden one day just did a 180 and backed off, stopped making content, and got the F out because they saw what was happening. what will happen to you? Well, now it's 10 times worse, 100 times worse.
Yeah.
There are people now who are starting to shut up and say, oh, no, it's not really my thing, and they're backing off, or they're trying to sound more lefty.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because people are starting to realize what time it is. And they don't know that Trump is going to win this. I don't know that Trump is going to win this either, but I'll be damned if I'm going to do anything that benefits psychopathic murderer Democrats
Amen.
to win in the upcoming elections.
I noticed a lot of people backing off the immigration issue. Like during the campaign, they were real tough on immigration, but now once we're in power, have the ability to deport as many illegals as we legally can. People are saying, oh, gee whiz, I don't know if that's the best idea. Or I don't know if we should just be rounding up every person who crossed the border illegally. Or, oh man, I don't know if DHS should be using my videos of when I funnily said that, we should be deporting all these peoples, and like, oh, gee whiz, you got kicked out. That's too bad. No, now that's not funny, man.
You sound like me on a date in New York City. That's really what you have to say.
Let me explain this. When you see prominent individuals pulling a 180 or backing off and saying, I don't know about all this stuff, man, what they're actually saying is, I am well aware that the escalation has reached a point to where those that have chosen a side and lose will be tortured, imprisoned, and have their lives destroyed. And they're trying to back away. We talked about this the other day. I said it's a political version of Pascal's wager. And the wager is, if you are on the left and the left wins, you're good. If you are on the left and the right wins, you're good. Right's not going to gulag you. Mm-hmm. If you are on the right and the right wins, you're good. If you are on the right and the left wins, you're going to get locked in a prison. So the safest thing you can do is support the left, because when the right wins, they're not going to lock you up in prison for being a leftist. At least not for being a public speaker. If you're a terrorist, for sure. But if you're a podcaster,
if you're a terrorist, even maybe not.
All these far left podcasters, in the event that the right dominates the midterms, maintains control of this function of government, ain't nobody's going to go and arrest Hassan Piker or David Pakman or Sam Cedar or any of these guys. They're totally fine. We've already seen what the Democrats are willing to do in the other direction. Mm-hmm. So that's the wager. And now you're seeing prominent individuals all of a sudden are backing off. They supported Trump, but now they're saying, I don't know about that.
I mean, I got Me Too'd for asking a woman for coffee at Fox News. Not one person.
That was you?
Yeah.
Oh, I remember reading that story.
Well, you guys covered it. But I know that's not, we're not talking about violence and stuff, but that is character assassination. Like that I just from that one thing, I lost the profit from my entire comedy tour. Because I would go on Gutfeld and I had to double my tour dates to go on to accommodate the fans. So I went into a spiral from that, and by the way, I have evidence it didn't happen. I called the Gutfeld people, and not one person spoke out. They all reached out privately, which is what they do. And now I have egg on my face because I thought, oh, Fox News, this is a safe space. I was a lefty.
Oh, come on,
but I was
mandates.
I was a lefty, right? I was a brainwashed lefty. I was raised that way. My dad came out as gay. My brother's gay. I was raised at drag shows. I was like the best Democrat warrior that they lost. So I was a little naive, but that was a big wake-up call when I was like, wow, this one thing where I was demonized for it, and called a predator for asking a woman for coffee, who, by the way, gave me her phone number. This was like a 2-minute interaction.
That's hyper ironic given Fox News' history of sexual assault allegations.
That's probably
over.
Okay, they're overcompensating here.
But Tim, I was jumping up and down because Tim on the show said, you know what I think happened? Because I know Tyler. I think somebody saw it, a woke manager or whatever, and reported it, which is exactly what happened. And she lied about the story in an insane way. So now I'm suing her.
Do you think if you were hotter that she wouldn't have taken it that way?
Well, no.
If you were a complete stud?
No.
The Giga Chad?
No, she would have, because it wasn't the woman I asked out.
Elaad? He is.
You're a handsome guy. I like your mustache.
If I squint, I look like Ryan
I don't know.
Gosling.
Maybe if you had 6 more inches.
All right, you look like hipster Ben
down.
Shapiro.
You give it to me. I could take it.
Okay, this roast is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go to Express. No, but hold on.
teasing,
But my point is, the woman I asked out didn't complain. She never has, and she still hasn't. It was the older woke woman who saw me asking somebody out and reported it.
She was running pass interference.
Right, exactly. And then made up a bogus story, which was a huge mistake because she went to the press about it.
This is another lawsuit for you.
Yes, but my point is, you have to fight the little stuff.
Yes.
And nobody had my back on it, which is fine. But to Tim's point, right now we're in a spot where it's 10 times as hard. And if you're not going to fight the little stuff,
let's just say it. Okay, the people who know what's going on in this country but won't say anything are cowards.
Yes.
Now I'm not saying that to insult people. I understand why they're scared. Sure. But let's just understand all that is required for evil to triumph is that good men do nothing. So all of these people that are out there that know exactly what's going on but refuse to speak out against it are the reason why we're in this mess.
It's weak men. That's it. Gals are going to be gals.
Well, let's jump to this next story. We got this one from Politico. Who wants to read the headline?
Politico.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, please put me on the spot here.
From Politico, I love Hitler. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chat.
I ain't reading that quote. Thousands of private messages reveal young GOP leaders talking about gas chambers, slavery, and rape. I gotta be completely honest with our audience. When we read this story, we were all laughing. Like
I was crying.
He was upset. He was like, "You guys are bad." We were just busting out laughing. Milo made a tweet about it, and he was like, "There was not one hard R in the whole chat," and he's offended by that. Here's the story. Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. They referred to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide and lauded Republicans who they believed supported slavery. Now, I want to clarify, too, I don't believe Politico. I think I don't know if they've actually published all the messages. I'd be willing to bet a lot of it is dark humor. I'm sure a lot of the use of the slurs are legitimate racist epithets or things like that. I'm not saying it's not. But I don't think they're literally saying they want to gas chamber people. I think they're trying to make edgy jokes.
Well, I just want to point this out. This is a weird thing to catch, but Politico has this weird thing about the word muse for whatever reason, because when Jay Jones talked about, in his private text messages, talking about shooting his opponent, talking about wanting to see that person's children die in their arms, it was like he mused about the children dying. You're like, that is just a very bizarre use of that word. But again, the greater point here is
Charlie Kirk text message person that's writing those.
What happened?
My lover, my muse.
Well, the thing. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. That was also very bizarrely
Fake
written.
language.
Look at this message. Or finish your point.
No, I guess my point is, yeah, man. I think there's a lot of things that are wrong to say, but when Democrats are out there fantasizing about their opponent's children dying and their actual politicians running for re-election, and the media says nothing to condemn it and no one comes out and condemns it, and then those same people are posting about this, talking about radicalization, it's impossible for me to take them seriously.
Let me read this. Someone wrote, everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, and everyone that endorsed but then votes for us is going to the gas chamber. Someone responded, if they vote for us, why would they be gassed? Because it's meant to be shock humor. He's making an ironic, he's being edgy, he's trying to be offensive. I'm going to create some of the greatest physiological torture methods known to man. We only want true believers. I would argue that if they were being serious in these posts, then they sound like they're extremely autistic. But JD Vance has chimed in. I think I got JD Vance's tweet. He says, this is far worse than anything said in a college group chat. And the guy who said it could become the AG of Virginia. I refuse to join the pearl clutching when powerful people call for political violence. So this is we've got this from Kalshi. Shout out Kalshi for sponsoring this segment. Who will win the attorney general race in Virginia? This is Jay Jones and Jason Miyares, and Jones has collapsed following this scandal. But Jones said in a post, when asked, you weren't simply asking questions, he says, I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. You weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. This is a guy who wants to be the AG in Virginia, saying he wants his opponent's children to die, so they side with his policy agenda. Well, fortunately, Kalshi's prediction model shows that he has collapsed, and Miyares is now a 2-1 favorite following that scandal. I mean, look how crazy it was. The Democrats were a 99% chance to win, and now it's flipped 62-39.
You know what I predict? I think that it's possible he might end up being condemned, but they will wait to throw him under the bus until they're 100% certain he's going to lose. Because to them, winning the election is too important. But if he gets kicked out, if there's no way he wins, if the polls are really bad, or after the election's over, when he does lose and they know for sure, they're going to go, oh, he shouldn't have said that.
They'll be saying, we trusted the voters to do the right thing.
Exactly.
We trusted the voters to do the right. We trusted Virginians. We know the soul of Virginians, and we trusted Virginians to do the right thing. And then the most cynical answer.
And then they'll say things like, oh, well, I condemned it, and it'll be people who condemned it after the election. Well, of course I condemned it. I didn't condemn it while he was running, when it counted.
Yeah, and I mean, thankfully, I mean, from my perspective, I'm thankful that the people of Virginia seem to be, aware that this is a terrible, or that would be a terrible situation. Because, like I said earlier, if he did win, if he was the AG, then every Republican in Virginia could guarantee that they would not get equal treatment under the law.
That's right.
A lot of people are talking about like what he said and the things that he said, like they are abhorrent. But the underlying point is this is going to make everybody in Virginia that isn't a Democrat, they're going to make them a target.
I want to read more from the story. They say at Politico, at least one person in the Telegram chat works in the Trump admin, Michael Bartels, who, according to his LinkedIn account, serves as a senior advisor in the Office of General Counsel within the U.S. Small Business Administration. Bartels did not have much to say in the chat, but he didn't offer any pushback against the offensive rhetoric in it either. He declined to comment. A notarized affidavit signed by Bartels, obtained by Politico, also sheds light on the intra-party rivalry that led to the Restore R War Room, whatever that means, Telegram chat to be made public. Bartels references Wax as well. He wrote that he did not give Politico the chat and that Wax demanded in a phone call that he provide the full chat log. When I attempted to resist that demand, after providing some of the requested information, Wax threatened my professional standing and raised the possibility of potential legal action related to an alleged breach of non-disclosure agreement. Bartels claimed in the affidavit, my position within the New York Young Republican Club was directly threatened. Walker, who now leads the New York State Young Republicans, touched on a similar theme, saying that he believes portions of the chat may have been altered, taken into context, or otherwise manipulated, and the private exchanges were obtained and released in a way clearly intended to inflict harm. He also apologized that there is no excuse for the language, blah, blah, blah. Look at this. 251 times says, mixed into formal conversations about whipping votes, social media strategy, and logistics, the members of the chat slung around an array of slurs, which Politico is republishing now to show how they spoke. Epithets like F hyphen 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 T, retarded, unredacted by the way, and N hyphen hyphen GA appeared more than 251 times. In one instance, Walker, who at the time was a staffer for Ort, talked about how a mutual friend in some in the chat dated this very obese Indian woman for a period of time. Giunta responded the woman was not Indian, she just didn't bathe often. I don't know why that's supposed to be offensive. Someone thought a person was Indian. They said, she's not Indian, she just doesn't bathe. Is the implication the guy thought he was Indian because she didn't bathe?
Yeah, I think that's the offensive part.
They're offended by that? Samuel Douglas, a state senator from northern Vermont, also the head of the state's Young Republicans, replied to Giunta in a separate conversation, blah, blah, blah. So apparently the actual story here is that there's an offensive group chat among young college guys and that it got leaked because they're angry with each other. So I think all of these people are retards and scumbags, and it's really easy for me to say. I don't really care about the language a bunch of edgy, angsty young men are trying to use or whatever. If they're actual Nazis, then I'm not interested in, working with them, but it's like I'm not going to debate them. If they want to have those ideas, then they can debate anybody like anybody else. But whoever leaked this is an absolute scumbag, because spreading private internal communications that are expected to be private is a violation of loyalty, and the lowest circle of hell is reserved for the betrayers and the disloyal. And this was a political weapon used to empower the left to damage people that they were pissed off at, and it is just the utmost scumbaggery. That being said, a lot of the stuff in here that is offensive and whatever, by all means, these guys are scumbags too. I don't care. But I think disloyalty is substantially worse than being offensive.
I think as far as group chats go, this is actually extremely tame. I don't know if you guys are in group chats, but really as far as group chats go, these are extremely tame. What I think is fascinating here...
Elaad's in a group chat where it's literally just the N-word over and over again. They don't say anything else.
I would never say anything untoward in a group chat. I've never even been in a group chat where any curse word has been... Did they put retard in the 251 count? All of this...
They did, but they didn't redact it, so it's like, do they really care about the word retard?
It's back, baby.
You know,
It's back.
I think in private conversations, people like to be sarcastic and even offensive and even say racist things sometimes. And do I think, those are commendable things? Not exactly, but do I think they're condemnable? I don't think it's really worth condemning. And, the fascinating part here is how Democrats treat the so-called bad actors on their side who say things that are bad or just as bad. So the example you guys used earlier was this J guy running for Attorney General here in Virginia, Abigail Spanberger, the person who's running above the ticket for governor here in Virginia. During the debate they recently had, refused to condemn, refused to, unendorse the guy. But on the right, when we have people saying, some allegedly problematic things, you already have people like Mike Lawler coming out of the woodwork, happy to condemn because they're scared of the repercussions. I just want to read you guys what Mike Lawler said of this, just to kind of analyze what Democrats.
Chat.
No. I don't even have any friends. I'm actually not in any group chats. If you have any group chats that have allegedly racist things in them, I have no friends. I'm not in any group. So, but I want the reaction, I think, to the bad actors in the party is what's important to recognize here. This is what Mike Lawler's reaction to this was. He said, "I'm disgusted by the hateful anti-Semitism and racism revealed in these messages. Anyone involved in this disgraceful behavior should immediately resign from any leadership position and reflect on how far they've strayed from basic decency and respect." I don't think this pearl clutching is getting us anywhere, and especially in this day and age, trying to excommunicate people over at best some untoward language. But again, as far as group chats go, these conversations were relatively tame. I'm surprised they didn't find something more outrageous. Like the Indian joke was really as crazy as it gets. They counted every UHERA as an I don't think we're going to get very far by condemning this kind of stuff. The Democrats don't condemn this sort of stuff inside of their party. The pearl clutching is getting us nowhere.
These people have obviously never been in an Xbox Live COD Call of Duty room. This is a non-story. Like, they're young dudes.
They're a bunch
talking
of bunch of nobodies. Like, that's what I'm saying. These are not high-ranking party officials or anything like that.
I don't think that matters. The point that I'm making is they're young guys that are just trying to be irreverent. They're just trying to say things that are edgy. Nowadays, these are the edgy things to say.
They also spent their childhood being told they can't say any of this stuff. This was normal when I was a kid.
Did they?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 50. Like, when this kind of hearing these kind of jokes.
That was poetry.
This is no big deal.
Did anything they say rub you worse than any dumb joke on Family Guy or South Park or something? Because I really feel like they barely touched the line on saying a controversial things. I don't know if I'm missing something here.
This doesn't. Nobody that's actually complaining about this actually has a problem with people saying edgy things. It's just that this is a vector of attack on Republicans. They don't have principles. Stop thinking that they care about anything. They don't have principles at all. They are just using this as a vector of attack. That's it.
Their principal personality for live streams electrocutes his dog as a prop on a show.
And said America deserved 9/11.
Yeah.
They don't
dude, calls for violence in Minecraft against people all the time.
Videos have come out of Hassan trying to hide the electroshocker remote. Yeah. and it's just this other streamer, QT Cinderella's I did see the shot collar, but the prongs were removed and there's tape over it. So it just vibrates. It's so it's a literal shot collar, but he took the prongs off of it. I'm so confident in saying this right now. I don't believe that Hassan Piker has any capability to file defamation against anybody accusing him of electrocuting his dog, because he literally held up a shot collar and it was confirmed by another streamer, and it is now just basically public knowledge, and there's an image of what appears to be a remote for shot collars on his desk that he tries to push out of the way. So I'm pretty confident at this point it is reasonable for any person observing this to conclude Hassan electrocutes his dog. That being said, I bring it up for fun because it's funny. But my point is, as Phil mentions, they have no principles. These are the kind of people that they watch, okay? No one actually cares on the right that these guys had naughty words. The only reason these got leaked was to give weapons to the left to destroy these people who are scared of it. No one on the left actually cares that these people say these naughty words because the left uses the same words all the time as well. So this is just a political...
And they are the words.
Yeah, look, if they were Palestinians saying gas the Jews, they'd be fine with it.
That
100%.
dude needs to be denaturalized and deported. Wait for it in Minecraft, though.
Well, yeah, and I
in
guess
Minecraft. Not in real life. He needs to be denaturalized
He
and
helped
deported
one of
in
my
video
videos
games.
go viral. He covered my Jordan Peterson impression and thought I was making fun of Jordan, and I got like a million views from it. And then he looked at one of my tweets, and I called Americans patriots, and he turned on me, and I literally started getting death threats like that day.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, not in Minecraft.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Lefties,
the backstabbing
send
here
you
is the
death
worst part of
threats.
this.
Yeah.
Lefties will send death threats to comedians. They'll kill people and then celebrate that they got murdered. And then they'll fantasize about their opponent's children dying in their arms. And no one on the left will condemn it. No one on the left will say anything about it.
That's because they don't have principles. It's all about
Guys, the
power.
backstabbing here.
So sorry. So the story right now, the rumor is we don't know this is true or not, but the rumors are that Gavin Wax, who is the president of the New York Republicans, I guess, is that what he is, leaked these.
Former. He's now part of the administration.
Oh, he works for the Trump admin?
Yes, he does.
So the rumor is that he leaked these. I don't know if that's true or not, but everybody, if you search on X over the story, basically everybody's saying Gavin Wax leaked these to Politico.
There was some friendly competition between the New York Republicans and the New York City Republicans. Gavin Wax was the president, former president of the New York City Young Republicans
Fighting
Club.
to be king of nobody?
Fighting for the Republican, to be the Republican of New York, the face of the Republican Party in New York. But I guess, again, the most fascinating thing here is it's your best friend. It's your buddy. It's the person in your party, knives out, ready to stab you in the back. To who? To Politico. To Dasha Burns. It's probably not written by Dasha Burns, but to the fake news Politico.
I'm bummed. I was supposed to perform at their next. They asked me to go. The Young Republicans. And now I'm like, I could have been like, "What's up, you retards?" I could
start dropping epithets in the emails
Just
now. They'll probably have.
Yeah, reading the.
They'll know you're one of them.
Your backdrop's just a big old Swazi.
Yeah. Hey, these are all from the texts.
That's
Oh,
right, man.
the
Not my
Swazi
words.
Star is old school. You need to get the Sonengrad and get it spinning.
Perfect. But yeah, I mean,
Speaking to Politico, really, guys, that's the issue too with the news media organization. Why are they so powerful? Why are all these left-leaning outlets? Why do they get all these amazing scoops? It's because right-wingers leak to them. It's because influential right-wing people, allegedly Gavin Wax, again, somebody who's in the Trump administration right now, working in the administration, he's leaking to these left-wing outlets. Where do these Republican senators and congressmen leak to? The New York Times, the Washington Post. So I think there's a serious issue with the news media ecosystem. What?
Sorry, can you clarify? Why do people think it was him?
Allegedly Gavin Wax, because the person who would who was in the group chat here, it says he was claimed that the guy
Allegedly
It was claimed the release of the chat is part of a highly coordinated year-long character assassination led by Gavin Wax and the New York City Young Republican Club, an allusion to the once obscured internecine war that has now spilled onto the open.
Wow, sorry.
Guys, keep your beef in the cow, all right, guys? Keep it in house. Don't let it spill out. The left
that's right.
manages to keep it in house.
well, I'm not so sure I agree with that. They crucify each other
They don't
all
get
the
in
time.
trouble as much.
I think that's because we still live in a leftist society. Even though there are people that don't acknowledge this, the left still has massive amounts of control over everything. Like Donald Trump getting into office and starting to disassemble the bureaucracy is only the very, very tip of the iceberg. The left still controls the vast majority of the media. They control Hollywood. They control a significant amount of what people consider politically correct and politically acceptable. So
Wow, so many people are calling me an N-word right now in my phone. I guess I have a lot of people to leak to Politico about. You guys ready for those scoops? Who cares?
no, I mean, literally, who cares? Like, if you're worried about being called names, probably shouldn't be in politics.
I'm going to expose from our group chat a message sent by Phil Labonte.
Don't do it, Phil.
Klingon rap, yay or nay? What is this?
AI Klingon rap. It was absolutely terrible. But
What is this?
Klingon rap.
Phil actually shared this with us, and I'm offended, so I'm sharing it with you.
the halftime show.
So Tim, I want to
kidding, it was
ask.
funny.
I want to ask you. I think these guys got fired from, or got job offers rescinded. If you found out one of your employees was in a group chat saying N's, F's, R's, would you fire them?
I've said the N word on the after show.
I dared you to.
The answer is context matters. Like Count Dankula, with the dog. No one should be fired for that. And in fact, he deserves a raise. Like that was very funny. Dank, you made your dog do a Sieg Heil or whatever. That was a funny joke. You're mocking the dog. And then when he had the dog do the BLM fist and he was like Black Power and the dog raised his paws up, that was even better. It was so good. It was like that one was better defined. So we've had circumstances here where people who've worked here have posted LGBTQ people being dragged to death by Islamic extremists. And
was it a
Oh,
news
yeah,
story
it
or
was it what?
was it a news story or
No. It was an image, and it was like this is what they do to gay people or whatever, like showing a corpse being dragged to death. And my only response was, I understand your point. You should consider the optics because some people are gonna unfollow you for seeing a dead body on their feed. But do your thing. We've had people here who have just like roasted Israel endlessly, nonstop, all day, every day, and then people, like Elaad who defend Israel all day, every day. So if someone had a group chat where they were literally saying things like that was dead serious, no holds barred racism and attacking employees here or people we work with, then I'd be like, you need to apologize to those people. And if this is the way you feel, you shouldn't work here. I don't care if it's racist or if it's like, if someone had a private message where they disparaged any individual that we respect or work with based on their characteristics or them personally, we've got a problem. Like, imagine if like racism aside, it's a very broad and general thing. What would happen if some message is leaked where someone who worked here was saying like, just insulting Seamus mercilessly, and it was like legit
Give him a raise.
Unironic. No, I'm serious. A legit unironic disparagement of Seamus behind the scenes where they were saying really nasty and awful things about him. I'd be like, you're allowed to believe whatever you want. You have no obligation to like Seamus, but if you have this kind of problem with him, maybe you shouldn't be here.
Let me just unsend that real quick.
Yeah.
So like I
It's
talk
for lack of professionalism.
Let's put it this way. What should I do in your opinion, Elaad? Everybody. Seamus. If leaked messages came out from employees at Timcast where they were saying that secretly they're in favor of transing kids and donate to the causes to support abortion and Planned Parenthood and child sex changes, what should I do?
I would say if they're unironically doing that, I don't know what the law says or what the Civil Rights Act says or whatever, but I think you should not work with that person. I think it's a bad idea to work with that person.
I agree. My response is why you shouldn't work here. We're clearly at odds with each other, and you oppose the mission of the company in supporting things that are destructive to our worldview.
Here's a question about can someone like sue you if you fire them for that?
Yeah,
legally?
Depending on the state.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wild.
That's why people don't understand all the HR stuff that they deal with at corporations is because the law requires them to do it. Everybody wants to live in this environment where the boss comes to you and is honest, like it's a movie, and he goes, listen, I'm going to be real with you. You're fat, you stink, and I'm letting you go because you got to lose weight. And they're like, no, they'll never do that because you'll get sued to oblivion. You simply say we no longer require your assistance at this time. And that way, most states, you can fire someone for any reason. And so you literally just say, at this time, we no longer require your work.
That's how I do breakups. We no longer require your assistance.
Your love. We're going to go to your chats and Rumble rants, so smash the like button, share the show right now with everyone you know. Literally every single person, even your grandma. Call her up and say, Grandma, there's a show you got to watch. Check it out. Better yet, turn the show on while you're at work, just like on the TV. Just play like last night's episode. We got a great sponsor before we do, my friends. It is Tax Network USA. Go to tnusa.com/Tim. Do you owe back taxes? Your tax returns still unfiled? Did you forget to file for an extension? The October 15th deadline is fast approaching and time is running out. If you haven't gathered all your documents or made any estimated payments, you could soon be targeted by the IRS. They can garnish your wages, freeze your bank accounts, or even seize your property. But there's help available. Tax Network USA, a nationwide tax firm, has helped taxpayers save over $1 billion in tax debt. They've filed hundreds of thousands of tax returns and assisted thousands in reducing their tax burdens. And they can help you too. Don't wait. Visit taxnetworkusa.com/Tim or call 1-800 958-1000 for a 100% free consultation. In one short call, the experts at Tax Network USA will guide you through some simple questions to determine how much you can save. Take action now before it's too late. Visit tnusa.com/Tim or call 1-800-958-1000. Very cool. I actually know a lot of professional skateboarders who are like, how do I file my taxes? And I was like, oh my God. But that's not surprising. Let's grab your rants and chats, my friends. We'll start here. Oh, don't forget the uncensored portion of the show. It's coming up 10 o'clock. You don't want to miss it at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. Join the Discord server at timcast.com to call into the show and talk to us and our guest. And you can say anything you want. It's uncensored. Royal, what is this? Roll-ya-teal? Roll-ya-teal? Seamus, I gave you $100 today, and my kids are grateful, except now they don't have food for the week.
I'm sorry to hear
How
it.
can you do that, Seamus? How can you do that?
All right. Mike Lowry says, stop buying Jameson, spoons, and Bibles, and you'll hit your goal in 2 days, Seamus.
How do you know how much I spend on those? I mean, that's an ugly accusation.
Seamus buys a new Bible every time he wants to read it. Fresh. He's a professional, you know what I mean?
The words disappear on the old ones, right?
Does
After
this
you read
look
them.
new?
So,
Wow, you carry that around?
Tony Hawk he's like the skateboarder. Recently did a video where he talks about how he only ever skates a brand new board. Yeah.
Since when did he start doing that?
I guess just forever. He's like,
Whoa.
Because usually you have to break a board in. After a certain while, the bushings are made of urethane. They get a little more give in them. You get used to it, and then they skate better. And then most skateboarders will keep the same trucks for a year or longer. Yeah, because you can use them forever. Tony Hawk is like, nah, like I use a new board every single time I go out because I don't want to have to get used to it. So by using a brand new board, it's always the same.
Right.
And that's like Seamus.
Ooh, I like that.
Every single time he's going to read, it's got to be a brand new, pristine,
I skated with him when I was 10.
Did you really?
It was sponsored by a little skate park in Connecticut.
Wow.
And he came by and we skated and went bowling together.
Oh, that's very cool.
And he's my dad now.
All right. Raffalo says, Seamus, if you get a call from a casting agent to go talk on a casting couch to get more funding for the film, don't go.
No? Would that not be a good opportunity? Is there something I'm unaware of? What happens with casting couches? I've never
There is
heard of this.
some-
I've
there
never
is
heard of this
something
phrase.
you might- there is something you're unaware
They
of.
sit down, they shake your hand, they pull up a computer, look over your projects, and everyone is very happy about it.
Interesting.
And to give you the drink and the thing. And,
They'll give you some Benadryl.
Oh my gosh.
A little Tylenol.
Shane H. Wilder says, Tim convinced me. I already sent Seamus money, but after that speech, I'm selling my crypto and emptying my bank account to fund twisted plots. To quote the tick, spoon.
Thank you, brother.
I'm going to hit refresh and see how much money you made. Looks like you made like $5,000.
Beautiful, guys. Thank you
$5,000.
so much for that. Thank you so much.
He just needs another $274,304.
You know what? We're 45% of the way there after a week, though. This is really
Wow,
incredible
that's massive.
progress.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. 45% of the way there. That's out of a $500,000 goal.
You know, one thing you can do if you don't meet your goal is go to Hollywood. They'll give you some production notes like everything's got to be far left and woke.
We need more trans people in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
All the characters will be black.
What if the leading role got a sex change? Right at the beginning of Act 2.
Have you
Just
thought
like
about,
randomly for no reason in
Yeah,
the
just
plot,
'cause.
the character just goes.
Have you thought about supporting Israel in the cartoon? I think I can introduce you somebody today.
$7,000 per episode.
per line of dialogue.
Just randomly in the middle of the episode, the character just goes, and by the way, Israel's great. And they're like, I agree. Anyway, back to the story.
No, you work it in the stories. Like you do your conservatism, right? You're working into, yeah.
This cartoon is brought to you by ExpressVPN.
All right. Jay Hoffert says, at the hospital right now after the birth of our fourth child, please welcome Maisie Jean Hoffert to the world and one medal yeah from
Yeah!
Congrats.
Thank you very much for continuing to produce kids. Babies are good. So,
I can't read one of these. I'll have to save one of these Rumble rants for the after show where it's uncensored. Shane H. Wilder says Senator Chris Murphy tweeted that his disgust for the young Republicans using the F, R, and N words 251 times. I agree with him. Those are rookie numbers. Well, that's what Milo said. Milo tweeted there's not one hard R in the whole chat. He's offended by it or something like that. You know, look, it really did sound like in the post where he's like, if they vote for us, they get the gas chamber. If they don't vote for us, they get the gas chamber. And someone's like, why would everyone get the gas chamber? It sounds like he's joking. Sounds like he's just making an edgy joke.
Can I do a both sidesism real quick? I'm sick of the pearl clutching for both of these text threads.
Yes.
Really? But which is the other one?
Where
The Jay Jones one?
the Jay Jones one.
Like he's
No.
being serious. He's not
Yeah.
joking. He's
No, he was making a joke because the joke is you've never heard I have 2 bullets and there's Hitler and Pol Pot and then there's
But then
another guy
when
that's
he's-
not that bad and I'm gonna kill this guy twice because these guys were so bad.
He's talking about killing their kids though, and like he was talking about their kids dying. Or he was talking about their kids dying.
It was distasteful. It was distasteful.
Guys, the
obviously.
point, the Jay Jones one is worse because, and I've already illustrated this. I said this earlier. The reason that there's an issue with Jay Jones ones is not just because what he said is gross, but because it indicates that Jay Jones, as the AG of Virginia, will not do his job properly. He will treat Republicans different to Democrats. That is why it's unacceptable. You can hate what he said. You can say it's bad, blah blah blah. But if it weren't in the context of he was almost the AG of Virginia, it would just be crappy things that some guy said. This guy is running for the top lawyer in the state of Virginia, which has a massive amount of Republicans because of its proximity to Washington, D.C.
Can we point out that when these chats came out from this Democrat saying he wanted his rival's children to be murdered, he only dropped like 3 points in the polls?
Initially, yeah.
Whoa.
Has it gotten worse?
Didn't you say?
That was prediction market.
Oh, prediction, my bad, okay.
Prediction market says he can't win at this point. But in the polls among Democrats, they did not care.
No, and they don't.
Exactly.
And it's unsurprising considering we saw the reaction to Charlie Kirk being shot. You saw how people were like, oh, there should be more people like that killed and blah, 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 blah.
2 years of if you don't get the vaccine, you should die. I mean, that was normal rhetoric on The View.
This is unsurprising.
Let's grab some more. We got Roman Sparks says, hey, Tim, earlier today you said Hassan is a better streamer than most. Hassan waved his gun on stream and advocated killing Republicans. Destiny is bad, but Hassan is one of the better ones. Let me clarify for you. Hassan is the #1 leftist streamer. Among leftist streamers, he is the best. So I was incorrect when I said he was a better streamer than most. He is the best streamer on the left. Thank you.
I don't think there's any denying that Hassan is a talented streamer. But despite that, he should still be denaturalized and deported in Minecraft. I love that joke now. It's actually a nice little ring to it.
I like the meme where it's Laura Loomer being like, we should just deport Hassan. And he's like, I'm from New Jersey. And then the chat guy says, we know.
Yeah. You're an anchor baby.
Hey,
you hate America.
Termites were born in your house.
But I mean, do you understand this distinction? Like, you can say that Stalin was a great man while saying, I don't mean good, I mean of magnitude and impact. You can say that Hassan is a better streamer than most by pointing out he is a multi-millionaire with millions of followers because he clearly knows how to stream. Why is the immediate assumption that it's praise for his ideology to point out his technical ability on a camera? And he electrocutes dogs. Millennial Mama says, did you guys see the terrible time picture? It reminds me of when you're in the car and you have your phone on your lap and you accidentally hit the camera button. Shockingly horrifying. Did you guys see this picture of Trump?
No.
It's a terrible picture.
It looked like a balloon, right? Like a balloon.
No, he looks bald. That's what Trump's saying. He's like, my hair is gone.
But also his neck.
No, we're talking about that neck.
The neck. Oof.
That neck.
That was brutal.
No,
Do they have the picture? Here you go.
It looks like a balloon coming out of a suit.
That's not what I see. I don't see a balloon.
You don't see a balloon?
No,
With that
I
little
see
neck?
something else, man. I see
balls.
No,
Can't
not
expect
balls,
time to-
man.
They
You
call
don't
it.
see
They
that?
call it a necklace.
Yeah, that's what I see.
That's literally what the liberals are posting.
You need to get your T levels
Grab
checked,
him by
man.
the neck,
If you don't
right?
see that neck, pussy.
Grab me by the neck.
No, this is the least flattering. Look, he's almost an 80-year-old man. Obviously, he's not the most handsome guy around. But this is the least flattering.
Bro, are you
angle.
kidding? Ladies, they faint when they see him. They swoon. Have you ever been around them? All the women just, oh, they fall backwards.
They really
have to
do.
They have to be caught by their husbands, and their husbands are
They
like,
really
oh.
do. Even the men around him.
Yeah, the men.
Everybody's
swoon, too.
swooning.
The men. No, the men.
I might.
You want to know what guys do around Trump?
Glaze him.
Bro, it is okay.
Stop.
Okay, let me tell you this because I went to Mar-a-Lago a couple times, met Trump a couple occasions. There are people that we have on this show that are smart and prominent people, and they see the president, they walk up with a smile on their face, shake his hand, say, "Good to see you, Mr. President," and that's about it. There are others who run around chasing after him and stand outside the bathroom waiting for him.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, just real creepy stuff. Like, and then they try talking to him and just, You go to Mar-a-Lago and you'll see some of these Weasley guys who, like, Trump is walking out, and it's like, you ever see Harry Potter, Peter Pettigrew is like the rat guy? That's what it's like.
Celebrity, that does, even for me, man, if I meet a celebrity on the street in New York, I would lose it.
I just want to point out, I used the Harry Potter reference just to make sure the liberals understood what I was talking about.
It's the only way.
It's the only way they'll get it.
It's true.
Oh yeah, like when I see celebrities, I just start screaming at the top of my lungs, and I chase them. I just run full speed, full Terminator sprint right at them.
That's when you saw me, you did that. I start talking like them by accident. I met Jordan Peterson. I was like, well, it's really nice to meet you. He's like, well, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? Go clean your room, bucko. Well, you do. Then we both start. He's also very sick. I hope he gets better soon. Just want to say that.
Then he swung at you. You did a backflip.
I go under his legs. He's very tall.
He's very tall.
Everyone's so tall.
All right, what do we got here? John Curry says, Seamus is a car spoonist. Everyone should watch Freedom Spoons.
Thank you.
Oh.
Millennial Mama says, you know what else is great content, Tim, especially for kids? Tuttle Twins. Angel Studios cartoon that I think even you would approve of. Did you guys see the trailer for Washington, Young Washington?
No.
Holy smokes, I'm super excited. I love Revolutionary.
Cartoon?
No, it's a movie. Andy Serkis is in it.
Oh.
Yeah, bro. I got to pull this up.
I would see it. I haven't seen a movie in years.
I got to pull this up and I got to shout it out because I am stoked because The Patriot is the best movie ever made with Mel Gibson.
It is like definitively the best film anyone's ever made.
Bro, have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen The Patriot.
Okay, so you know I'm not wrong. It is like the best movie ever made.
Right after my
I wish it was a real story. But we'll just play a little bit as we only got a few minutes left. Actually, no, we should play it. We should play this because I think what is it? It's a minute long, and it is based AF. So we're gonna play this. Shout out to Angel Studios, Young Washington. I am so excited for this movie.
What happened, Washington? All those bullet holes in your jacket. How are you alive? I don't know.
True story.
You have no military service. You are a boy. You are not British, yet they send you to speak for them. So that when you fail, they'll have someone to blame.
Young Washington, you lost in the New World.
Who does own this land, if not the one who has the will to tame it? You do not want to start a war.
So what do? We fight!
Oh, nice.
Hold your ground! There is no retreat!
What are you called?
My name is George Washington.
That looks pretty solid.
Make this the #1 movie.
Dude, Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
Andy Serkis, Ben Kingsley, Mary Louise Parker. They got all-star cast in this. Holy smokes, I'm so excited. For America's 250th birthday.
Wow.
Not to mention The Patriot is the greatest movie ever made. So this is like fan fiction almost.
Yeah, George Washington is the fan fiction character from The Patriot.
Yeah, the character Mel Gibson plays is a fictionalized amalgam of like 3 different people. And they took their stories and turned it into one fictionalized version. Mm-hmm. But have you seen The Patriot?
No, but that's how I live my life. I 3 people. I'm sure I saw. When did that come out? That was a long time.
25 years
ago. Oh yeah, yes, I saw.
Yeah, it's the revolutionary movie, and it's Mel Gibson fights that evil British guy.
Yep.
Ooh, the British. I'm so mad at them.
Makes me so angry every time I watch it.
Yeah, Carl Benjamin.
I wonder what he thinks of that movie.
Well, the funny thing is,
you two should watch it together.
Like, one of the first thing Americans typically ask Brits is about, like, the revolution.
Really?
And the funny thing is, like, I think I was talking to Carl about it, and he's like, mate, our history is like 1,500 years. Like, this was a small 20-year period in our history that we don't really, like, we talk about it, but it's There's a lot of other things going on, like we were at war with France or whatever, and it's like, oh yeah, it's like the colonies broke off. Fair point. For us, it's like our entire identity.
Yeah, well, it's our founding story.
They're like, it was a Tuesday. That's
well, it's like
nothing big.
It's like a bad breakup where one person's just obsessed with the other and talks about how like their whole identity is based off this breakup, and the other person's like, bro, we dated for like 2 weeks.
No, Tim, it's because we escaped a narcissistic relationship.
The first time I was on your show, Tim, didn't sleep. I went through one of those breakups, and
really?
she probably thought nothing of it. And so I came into your show on no sleep. I drove 7 hours on no sleep, and I was crying. But I think I held it together pretty well on the show.
Yeah, good job.
That's the worst, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm over it.
All right, what do we got here?
Damn, bro, it doesn't sound like
Lysandrin says, Seamus, when it approached the Angel streaming service, they should align. They should align with your values.
I listen, at some point, I think it would be great to work with Angel, actually, and I did work with Angel on Tuttle Twins. We did a little crossover where we animated a 7-minute segment of one of their episodes. So I think they're doing cool stuff. This is something I really think it's important for us to do as an independent project. For our first project, I really want it to be something that myself and my team are in total control over.
Good call.
But yeah, I absolutely wouldn't... I wouldn't write off working with Angel at some point in the future. I have friends there. They've been very cool to me over the years.
I want to point out from that trailer, the opening scene where Ben Kingsley is like, there's bullet holes in your jacket. How are you alive? This is a true story about George Washington, that he was like a battle. They were shooting at him, and his jacket's got a bunch of bullet holes, but he was completely fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude.
Incredible.
Maybe he pre-put them in there.
He like got off the horse, punched holes in him, put it back on.
That's what Sargon
Look at
thinks.
me. I was at the battle. All right, Iggy the Incubus says, what does it say about Dem voters that they are constantly backing the people who condone and call for life removal of their opponents? I don't know how we come back from this, or if we can or should. So I've covered this quite a bit. Vox wrote an article. They keep citing this woman, Barbara F. Walters, who is a former CIA, I guess, and she's writing about how civil war is coming. She went on the Bulwark and said that after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Democrats, high-level Democrats, all uniformly condemned the violence and offered prayers, while conservatives called for more violence. Yep.
Insane.
Whoa.
Yep. And I was like, this is crazy. They know, she knows it's not true. She researches this. There were people fired from their jobs. Jimmy Kimmel was taken off the air for comments about Charlie Kirk. Dana White condemned the cancel culture. It is mainstream knowledge that the left, liberals, and Democrats celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk to the point where people had to come out and say no more cancel culture because they were losing their jobs. Mm-hmm. But this is what they do. And this is why I think there's no off-ramp.
Yeah.
She could come out and say, we agree and we recognize that this was a bad thing our side did. No, she won't. They will never do it. So Jay Jones coming out and being like he wants children murdered, they're not going to condemn that.
Oh.
All right, everybody. Let's see. Maybe we'll try and grab one more, perhaps. Bra says, what do you think of the Nazi book burnings on LGBTQ books? I agree with it personally, but the rest of the stuff they did, I condone.
Wait, condone?
Wait, you mean condemn?
You mean condone or condemn?
Oh, scheisse.
I don't agree with book burnings. I don't. I think that we shouldn't have these sex books for kids in schools, but I have no problem with the books existing so that we can understand what these people think and why they behave the way they do. You like, it's the same thing with Mein Kampf. No, you want to understand the arguments being made by Hitler so you know what was wrong with the guy. We played, someone AI translated a Hitler speech. It was like a big story where they loaded it up and then made like 11 Labs or some company turned it to English.
Right.
And then it's like you listen to it and you go, oh, this guy's nuts. It's psycho ramblings. Basically the speech that they translated was him talking about reparations to foreign countries and the debt from World War I and how bad it was and that they're being screwed over by France. And then abruptly he just starts screaming the Jews did it over and over again. And I'm like, okay, this guy's crazy.
Whoa.
But the point was that he was able to rally people behind this grievance demagoguery of like, we have been oppressed and offended by the people in our neighboring countries and then the Jews. And it's like,
it works. It works.
Demagoguery.
Well, how he spun it and how.
I think the issue was if Hitler came out right away and said France is the enemy, we need to go to war with France, they had no means. Their economy was damaged or was very weak, and they didn't have a strong military apparatus at the time. So he needed to rally people behind an enemy that they could win against, which was internal and not German, or at least not ethnically. So that's why he targeted Jews, among other reasons. I mean, you can read about what he said. The guy was nuts. And then once he amassed enough power, what were his targets? It was rival European nations. But anyway, we need to get into history debate. Smash the like button. Share the show with everyone you know. My friends, the uncensored portion of the show is coming up in about 30 seconds. You can see it at rumble.com/Timcast IRL. Head over to timcast.com. Click join us. If you'd like to call into the show Monday through Thursday, the uncensored call-in show, you can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Subscribe to this channel. Mr. Fisher, you want to shout anything out?
You can, I'm fundraising a movie, but give to him first. If you got any leftovers, if you're rich, you can go to GiveSendGo/Tyler Fisher. I'm making a comedy film. I'm going to make a film like they did when we were growing up, Wedding Crashers, Zoolander, all that. And then I'm on Instagram, X, everything, YouTube, Ty the Fish, Ty the Fish, FISCH. I've got thousands of comedy videos, sketches. It's a good time, and it's all free.
Elaad Eliyahu, White House correspondent here at Timcast. Make sure to leave all the group chats so you can keep your job, keep it kosher online, keep it professional, everybody. Come on, get it together and stop stabbing your homeboys in the back, especially to the leftist media. What are we doing out here? Seamus.
My name's Seamus Coughlin. I'm creating a full-length animated series called Twisted Plots. I have 11 years of experience creating really funny cartoons. We have over 1 million subscribers, over 250 million views, all with $0 spent on marketing. I've got the experience, I've got the vision, and I've got the team. If you give me your support, I'll be unstoppable. Go to twistedplots.com, support this. You'll get to see the pilot. I think you're going to love it.
That was pretty good.
That was good.
I would say you can ham it up a bit more and say something like,
I'm just being sincere. I'm explaining.
No, hold on. You have to say, try the same as, listen, you know that I can do this, and you know it must be done. If you do not, go to Twisted Plots and give now to support this show. All is lost.
Twistedplots.com.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. I just did a collab with a band called Zillion. The song is called Cannibals. You can go to Spotify right now and pre-save. It'll be available on 10/17, so that's October 17th. You can check out my band, All That Remains, on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Spotify, and YouTube and Deezer. Don't forget, the left lane is for crime.
We will see you all at rumble.com/TimcastIRL in about 30 seconds. Thanks for hanging out.